to DC Universe Live. I'm your host, Kevin Smith, and I'm so excited to be streaming live from the brand new set of DC Daily to tell you all about DC Universe. And just look at this set, man. It's Gotham City, it's Metropolis. The Bat Missile is here, man. I mean, look at it. It's actually here. And I counted the tires. There are more tires on the Bat Missile than were on the Batmobile. So, spoilers, they ruined that movie. I counted them myself, man. They even have a Superman pinball machine here from the 70s. I once played on one of those when I was a child, man. You're going to be hanging out here in this room every weekday with DC Daily. They're going to have breaking news, panels, special guests, and exclusive giveaways, man. We've got some trivia coming up where you will get to answer some questions from me. And be sure to use the hashtags DC Universe, hashtag DC Universe, and hashtag DCU Livestream on social media as we start this show going. Get everyone involved. All right, man, this is DC Universe. It's everything DC that you can watch, read, shop, connect, explore, and win. It's the characters you know and love all in one place, and where you get to share your fandom, man. It's your universe. In my universe, obviously gonna be a lot of Batman. I'm a big Bat guy. I can't wait to put in characters like The Question, because that's a character I've always held close to my heart, man. I go deep on DC. DC's my religion. It's where I learned to be a good person. It's how I learned to be moral in this world. Not in church, from reading DC comics, man. So I'm happy. I'm happy I've got this now. They've been hyping up this show, and you, the fans, have made your voices heard loud and clear. You've got a lot of questions, and I'm gonna try to answer them right here, man. One of the most popular questions we've gotten all week is this. That's right, everyone wants to know, when will DC Universe launch? All right, folks, get ready to tweet this out. Big news, here we go. I want you to know the date. I have the answer. Batman Day, Saturday, September 15th. DC is pulling out all the stops, so you definitely want to be locked in with DC Universe on the 15th, on Batman Day. Doesn't that make sense? That's the day we celebrate the death of Batman's parents. It's a very confusing holiday. Be sure to go to DCUniverse.com to pre-order, man. I mean, it's gonna be Batman Day, so you can binge Batman the Animated Series in full HD for the first time. You can watch Batman movies and read a ton of Batman comics. Are you a rebel like me? Then you read Superman on Batman Day, man. You show them. It's your universe. We've also heard from a bunch of fans from around the world, and they want to know if there's going to be an international version of DC Universe. This is a really great question, and we will get back to you on that. I don't know. Kidding aside, everyone's excited about making DC Universe available in more ways to more people in the future. But right now, they're focusing on the U.S. launch. So, you know, trust me, we will let you know when the rest of the world can get on the magic. In the meantime, we have some tremendous stuff planned. Comics legend Jim Lee is going to be here, man. Plus surprise guests and some sneak peeks. I'm probably going to cry because this DC stuff makes me very emotional. But before we get to the waterworks, Rob Camphausen, one of the guys from Warner Brothers Digital Labs, the team that basically built this thing, is going to tell us what we can expect from DC Universe. Check it out.
Hey everyone, I'm Rob Camphausen from Warner Brothers Digital Labs, and today we're going to take a tour through DC Universe, a groundbreaking digital experience catered exactly for the DC fan. What you see here is the overall home screen. So we're going to take a tour down this screen, past some of the big highlights that we have, and you'll see there's row after row of content between live action movies, animated series, a bunch of classics that you might remember. There's going to be original exclusives in this app, including all of the shows that you've probably started hearing about already, from Titans, Young Justice, Harlequin, Doom Patrol, and more. You'll notice it's not only videos, but there's comic books. So you get to now see comic books either on your phone or on your big screen TV if you have a Roku or an Apple TV and other devices that we're going to be available on. This is our Connect section called Community on the iPad. This is a bunch of different categories that you can jump into, whether you want to talk about comics or other media. The Encyclopedia section is a world that you can learn all about DC lore, see the backstory of the character, learn all about their history, even see essential storylines that might relate to the character so that you can gear up on all the knowledge. These are all different things that we want to bring to you in the app later this fall.
Remember when yes, go ahead, you can applaud that, man. Remember when I mentioned Jim Lee like a minute ago? Well, I'm a man of my word. He is one of the greatest comic book artists of his generation. He's the chief creative officer and publisher of DC Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the great Jim Lee! Hey. Of the many incredible things that you've done over your long career and whatnot, and the many pieces of memorable artwork you've created and storylines you've created, the creation of DC Universe is way up there on the list as far as I'm concerned. Why did you do this?
Well, I think it's an extension of what what we do as a business. We're probably one of the most public-facing, fan-friendly companies out there. So if you think about it, we're engaging with our fans on a 24/7 level on social media. We're producing comics every single week. We've got all these great TV shows and movies. And so I think it's allowing us to use technology to kind of further that connection with our fans. And so really delivering that content to them directly.
This is what I've been thinking about in regards to DC Universe. Like, it's weird to say this because it's Warner Brothers and it's a corporation, but it's thrilling to see you guys take control of your content and shape your destiny.
Right.
For years, like if you wanted to do a superhero TV show or something or a movie, you had to go to others. Here, they go to Warner Brothers to make the movies, but for the TV shows, they wind up on other networks. Now with DC Universe, you can make your own shows. You don't. I hope some other network picks this up. You guys can go like, we're doing Titans.
Right.
It's amazing.
Well, how many networks would pick up Doom Patrol, right?
Exactly.
Oh, right. I mean, that's like
a huge,
the classic comic book series, but I think it's not as well known as Titans. But here we have this opportunity to bring it to life.
And you can do that. You can home grow stuff that before you just kind of leave in the toy box. But like, well, maybe one day. Today is that day.
Sure.
You've been around the DC hallowed halls for a long, long time at this point. What's in your universe?
Well, I would probably start with the comics that inspired me to get into this job. So, I was a psychology major, but then 1986, senior in college, Dark Knight Returns comes out by Frank Miller, and that changed everything in my world. And so that's what kind of motivated me, inspired me to want to become a comic book professional. Then obviously, all the stuff I grew up with, I think Batman '66 was the show. And I think a lot of people my age, we watched it as a serious show, right?
Yeah, we didn't think it was campy.
Right, the mustache looked perfectly cool on the Joker, right?
It made sense.
I couldn't wait till I was never able to grow a mustache. But anyway, those are the things that really kind of introduced me to DC mythology. And then you find out they're comic books that have been published for decades and allowed you to kind of deep dive into it. And actually, I mean, that's what this platform allows you to do. We can, selfishly as a publisher, put up the comic book work right next to the shows. Yes. And this is the stuff that inspired the TV shows, inspired the movies, and really kind of do a deep dive into that.
And that's really important too, is like as comic book movies and comic book TV shows and comic book video games go further and take over, you never forget the source. You got to remember your history, and it came from the books. And they keep making books every darn week, so it's like it's nice. It's great to be able to be like, you just watched Batman. Click over here, you can read the source material.
Right.
Before we jump into something else, it's adorable. I've spoken to Jim many times, including on the Fat Man and Batman podcast.
Sure.
Tell him the story about running. It's important. It's a great story. It's great motivation.
All right. So it was one of the stories I always kind of kept in the closet because I didn't want to share it because it was kind of goofy. I thought it was kind of embarrassing.
Great story.
And you kind of pulled it out of me. But when I was trying to break into comics, I just graduated from college, moved back into my bedroom with my parents, and I didn't know how to get into comics. There was no Google. There's no way of knowing how to break in. And so I kind of kept drawing and mailing them into companies and getting rejection letters. I posted some of these on like Instagram and Twitter so people can see them. And but I needed a way to kind of make it real, make the challenge real. And so I was also jogging a lot and just kind of trying to stay in shape. And I would run around the racetrack and I would chant Miller, Byrne, obviously Frank Miller, John Byrne. These are the two artists I idolized as a kid. And I felt like if I just kept chanting their name and if I kept just running, that I would get closer towards this goal. It's just a weird kind of mind thing I was trying to do. And
what's beautiful
and it sounds insane, I know.
It's not. It's awesome, and it's a motivational tool to hand off to others. Others will be running around now going, Jim, leave.
there you go.
This is what I like. Is that
keep running, kids.
Keep running, indeed.
Right.
That sounds like a scene out of a movie. And with DC Universe now, there's an opportunity, a chance for somebody to be like, we're going to do the movie of the week, the Jim Lee story. And then someone will dramatize that moment.
Yeah, Season 10. We've run out of all the other stuff to exploit.
Jim's going to stick around, and everyone watching needs to remember, man, DC Universe launches September 15th on Batman Day.
Right.
There couldn't be a better date. Speaking of Batman, do you want to hear about our once-in-a-lifetime Batman sweepstakes? As your close and personal friend, that's me, I say yes, you should check this out. Look at this clip.
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Love that. Shortest Batman ever, man. That was awesome. I've never watched a clip from Batman while sitting this close to the Bat Missile. It felt very, very good, man. So let's check in with Rob about watching TV, movies, and animation on DC Universe.
All right, everybody. Now we're going to check out some animated hits that are available on DC Universe. So you'll see a lot of these movies that are here, like Wonder Woman. This is about 10 years old at this point, but it's still fantastic. Please check it out. But you're also going to see things like Gotham by Gaslight. So there's new hits as well as classic hits that are available as part of your subscription. You'll see live action shows. You'll see live action movies. So some of the Christopher Reeve movies from the 80s you'll be able to enjoy here, as well as Batman Year One and the Michael Keaton 1989 Batman. There's also going to be a lot of exclusive content made specifically for DC Universe. Titans, Young Justice Season 3, Harlequin animated series, Swamp Thing, lots of stuff that we've been looking forward to sharing with you for a long time. But the road keeps going. In addition to live action movies, there's tons of animated hits that are available to you, all the way to things like Batman The Dark Knight Returns. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. Am I allowed to watch this now? I'm gonna watch this now.
These movies and more will be available on DC Universe at launch. Superman 1, 2, and 3. Gotham by Gaslight. The Dark Knight Returns, Parts 1 and 2. And in honor of Batman Day,
I'm Batman.
1989's Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight.
Oh, they got all the Batmans. Man, that's a lot of great Batman stuff. Jim Lee stuck around, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to keep talking to him if he's going to let me. You going to let me?
I'm here for you.
Fair enough. So let's talk about the original shows that we're going to be getting on DC Universe. We all know, of course, the first one is Titans.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about Titans. Can you or share?
Sure. Yeah, I think we're showing exclusive first stills of the main characters.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
All right, man. So that's some
absolutely,
DC
yeah.
Daily action right here. It's kicking in. You
Right.
got this is exclusive. Let's
Right.
see.
All right. So obviously this is Raven. You're familiar with the Titans, of course, right?
I am.
Right?
Oh my Lord, look at that. Look at the religious iconography. That's awesome.
right.
Her father is an interdimensional demon.
That's right.
So seeing the religious iconography of it, that's cool. You guys are going to lean into
Right.
that. That was the wonderful thing about the Raven character is you could play with the supernatural with her.
Right, absolutely. I mean, she was goth before goth became a big thing,
Very,
right?
very
Yeah,
true,
yeah.
yes.
And so she's played by Tegan Croft, and as you can
Looks
see,
fantastic. The
it's
doll is creepy.
right, sort of like The Exorcist come to life,
little
of course,
bit.
right? Then we have Starfire,
Oh!
right?
Yes, look at that.
Right, played by Anna Diop.
I just never thought we would see that character in live action in my life. When I was reading
Yeah.
Judas Contract as a kid,
Sure.
never imagined they'd eventually get to a world where you can see a live action Star.
Well, all this stuff come into life. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean,
Fantastic.
like, look, I mean, I don't know, when you were a kid, I would have to go to other cities, you know, friends and family, look through the TV guide to see if they were playing an episode of something because all the programming was split over different networks.
Right, it wasn't. It's just the same across.
Right,
The
and so you had to kind of cobble it all together. So we've got it all here
country. Here
together.
it's
It's
all in
amazing.
one place.
Absolutely.
She
yeah.
looks great. Who else you got? Gar! Oh, look, you got Beast Boy.
We got Ryan Potter as Beast Boy. He looks fantastic.
That looks great.
Fantastic.
And the Claude. Whoa!
Right.
There he is,
Right.
man. The F-bomb himself. Wow. That looks phenomenal.
Right.
That's a great shot. And he's
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
R right in the foreground.
That's right. So there's Brenton Thwaites, and he's, you know, he's a very kind of broken Robin. I mean, you know, the origin of the characters, they're very kind of broken.
Yeah.
They're looking for belonging, looking for family, and they all come together because of the story and find a sense of unity and come together as a team.
I love that we're getting a Robin that looks like the Robin that was popularized when I was reading comics. Like, it looks like the first incarnation of the Tim Drake Robin. Did they go to you to be like, which Robin do we use, man, if we're going to do Titans?
Right. So actually, this was it's produced, and a bunch of the episodes were written by Jeff Johns. So obviously, right?
They've got. They don't need you.
Right, right. Exactly.
They're real close.
And Greg Berlanti's also co-producing, and I think he's producing at least 60, 70% of the DC universe
That dude,
on TV.
he knows a little bit about DC
Yeah.
Universe.
So, but I mean, it's great. They're basically pulling together all the influences from all the different incarnations of the Titans and kind of making their own. Right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that stuff with us, man. Let's talk about what else we've got on the. Let me see. Are we talking about?
Well, we've got some animated shows. We've got Harley Quinn and Young Justice Outsiders.
Show me. Can
Right.
you?
No.
can show
The
me
producers
titles.
are actually going to come out a little later and
Yes.
talk about that.
But those title cards, that's what we're supposed to be looking at right there.
Right, right.
Oh, very nice.
Right.
Young Justice Outsiders coming back after how long an absence?
A couple years, I think,
years,
right? Back from popular demand. They were on Netflix for a while. But the idea was really to have original programming every single week of the year, right? So that's our goal.
That's fantastic, man. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm lost. Where am I going?
I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about the other shows, right?
Oh,
so obviously
okay.
we have Titans, and Doom Patrol is seeded in Titans. They show up in an episode, and then they spin off into their own season.
So Doom Patrol starting in Titans. That's where
That's
they're
right.
gonna
Yeah,
start?
that's right. First
and
time
then pop
you see
off to
him. Right.
the-
So Brendan Fraser is a big. He plays Cliff, Robot Man in the show.
Excellent choice of casting.
Yes.
I mean, he's got an instantly recognizable voice. That character is absolutely adorable and wonderful.
Right.
And for him to play that character, and he'll play him, I imagine, in flashbacks, it'll be Brendan Fraser.
That's right.
And then the rest of the time is going to be some CGI guy or something.
No, it's a guy in a suit.
Is it
right?
really gonna be a dude in a
yeah,
suit?
but they're talking about how to bring his performance. So he'll probably record his lines, and then the actor will basically interpret those lines. But
Right.
he's even saying like, maybe I should act out Robot Man, and then he can see my visual performance and then kind of mimic it. I mean, that's a lot more work, but you
But
can
he's
see
a
the kind of-
collaborator.
yes.
Like, it's a guy
thought
that's
that
like,
one
hey,
was-
man, I
yeah.
put some thought into
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's dope, man.
Right.
What else you got?
We got Swamp Thing, right?
Oh,
right?
Lord.
So that's produced by James Wan, who's directing Aquaman.
Which, like, let's jump off topic
Yeah,
real quick. That
sure.
trailer looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if he could do that with Aquaman, what's James going to do with Swamp Thing?
Right, right. Well, I mean, it's a very different vibe, of course, but again, it plays into what we can do on the service. We have the creative freedom to tell a really kind of dark version of Swamp Thing.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was just like, come on, what kind of Swamp Thing we talking about? Are you doing Alan Moore Swamp Thing? They said, oh, yeah. I said, are you going to do anatomy
Anatomy
lesson?
lesson?
And he said, yeah. And a tear rolled down my
Sure.
cheek, because
Yeah,
I'm like, we're
yeah,
going to
yeah.
see that come to
Right.
life. I have
Well,
a page from that
We're
book
going to
hanging
have
on
the
my
room
wall.
to tell that story and give it the pacing it deserves. I mean, it's going to be horror on the platform. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's just you get to open up the toy box and play with the characters
Sure.
in different mediums and play with them in ways that like we've never gotten to see before.
Right.
There was an old Swamp Thing show, but this one, come on,
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Absolutely.
All right, I'm super pumped for the Titans series after seeing the Comic-Con trailer, and a lot of fans sent us their question, but one in particular stood out. Let's see what that is. When can we finally see Titans? Okay, let me tell you, man, Titans is going to premiere at the New York Comic-Con October 3rd. If you're there, you can see it live. If you subscribe to DC Universe, you will see Titans on, wait for it, October 12th. And you'll get new episodes of the series every Friday. Finally, a reason to look forward to the weekend. The season has 12 episodes, so that's a new DC Universe original show being released on Fridays for the rest of the year, man. You know what? And then they went. I don't know. Now they're, whoa. You're moving my, hello. Are we jumping? I'm sorry.
There.
I was a little lost. You scrolled pretty quick. Folks, I'm reading. That's what you have to realize right now. You know what? Those fans who sent in their Titans questions seem pretty eager for the show. So DC Daily is going to hook them up with a year subscription to DC Universe. Man, don't thank me. Thank your friends here at DC Daily. And if you already have a membership, you're going to get the gift, this gift right here. See this omnibus? Teen Titans Omnibus, man. We're going to send you that instead. If you've already bought the DC Universe, we're going to send you this. All right, Jim, I think I got to let you go, but is there anything else that you want to show us?
Actually, you know what? We do have a little tidbit. We announced our fourth show for the service at San Diego Comic-Con. It's Stargirl, so we're going to reveal the logo. If you're the people that are font lovers out there, they
Look at
can really-
that. Every font lover in the audience is
That's
like,
new,
"What?"
classical, bold, high italic or something.
That is really sweet. And this is Jeff is doing this show as well from top
absolutely,
to bottom.
absolutely.
This is
Yeah,
Jeff
it's
Johns.
a very personal story that he's telling, and it's amazing.
And he's getting to do it right here. Man, that's fantastic. Nice. But I want more. Is that greedy? How about this? Since we're in Gotham City and you've been known to, live stream a drawing or two
That's right, that's
along the
right,
way,
yeah.
maybe you can hang out and draw something for us?
I
while
have
this
brought
is
my supplies.
You-
I'm
you-
ready.
You must have imagined we'd
Yes,
be asking
yes.
you. That's pretty
Right.
damn cool, man. All right, so while Jim Lee crafts a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, check out this exclusive clip that's probably going to make a bunch of you freak out. Look.
Intel was on the money, Oracle.
Of course.
It's DC, bien! It's definitely another meta-human trafficking lab.
But is it Bedlam?
I'm seeing pods full of black goo.
Sounds like a match. Bedlam uses a substance called tar as a catalyst for turning abducted metagene kids into full-on metahumans. Assuming the kids survive the process.
Then let's shut them down.
Nightwing? Nightwing, do you read?
Worried about me?
Worried you didn't get a sample of the tar before you blew the place.
Way ahead of you. Sending data now.
Got it. Running analysis. Okay, this is Crash. A solid lead to the source of the tar in hopefully Bedlam Central.
Spill.
Tar contains a clay only found in one place. Markovia.
Then Markovia, here we come.
I'm so excited. Isn't that awesome? So excited that Young Justice is finally getting a third season. And we have producers Greg Weisman and Brandon Fietti here joining me on the couch to talk about it. Hello, boys. How are you?
Very good.
How are you doing?
So let's talk about what exactly did we just see in that clip, which was awesome.
Well, you saw Dick Grayson, Nightwing, out of costume in what we're calling darkwear because he is in Russia where the Justice League is not allowed to go. And so he can't wear any superhero symbols or anything like that. And he's on the wire with this mysterious female voice, Oracle.
Big reveal, yeah.
That's a huge reveal right there, really. So we're going to see Oracle in the series going forward or just here?
We're definitely going to hear.
We like our secrets.
Very,
I'll have to
very
tune in and
nice.
see.
What was it like to reopen the doors on the franchise? Like, was it something that you guys ever thought you'd see come back in your lifetime or something you'd be working on again?
I wasn't sure, to be perfectly honest. And, you know, we have the fans to thank for that. Their support helped bring us back.
Is that right? Just
oh,
people,
yeah.
People loved this cartoon.
They really did. They got behind it. They got on social media, and they talked about it. They spread the word, and we're
Binged
back.
the hell out of it.
And
Yeah.
binged the hell out of it.
So it was great for us to come back to it and, you know, reopen all the stories that we didn't quite get to in our second season. And it was like, kind of like getting back together with old friends to kind of, you know, get the cast back together and bring in some new cast as well.
What was the new cast? Can you say? No, you're not going to tell me.
Again, some. We've got Troy Baker playing Geoforce.
Right on. He's fantastic.
We've got Jason Spizak playing Forager
Nice.
from Fourth World.
Yes. and characters.
Zara Fazal is playing Halo.
Nice.
And who am I skipping?
There's many more.
Many more.
And we're holding back a lot because we want people to discover the show through the show. And we don't want to announce everything up front.
Up front, no
Yeah.
doubt. Let me ask you this. I'm asking everybody that comes through. What's in your universe, respectively?
Well, I mean, I'm old. So I go back. I mean, I think of the first comic I ever read, which was a Justice League Justice Society crossover, and how cool that was. And you know, I'm really excited that people will be able to read the Young Justice Companion comics that we did, and Captain Atom and other stuff that I've worked on over the years, but also that things like the Christopher Reeve Superman and
That Christopher
Adam
Reeve
West.
Superman and Adam West Batman. Those
Batman,
two, like, you know, when you mention them, some young kids roll their eyes and stuff. They're like, hey, man, Ben Affleck's Batman. But it's like at one point for us, Adam West was Batman.
Yeah,
Those
absolutely.
two franchises were so formative and minted
Linda
millions of
Carter.
fans. And Linda Carter is
Yeah.
the third one, man, the triumvirate, the trilogy, if you will. What about you? What's in your universe?
Oh, Super Friends.
Yes!
Yeah, that was my intro to the DC universe.
Was it? That's the first time you saw the characters?
First time, yeah. And then, of course, later on, Batman the Animated Series. That's
amazing.
what really made me want to get into animation, and that's when I knew what I wanted to do when I grow up was you know, through watching Batman evolve, like from stylistically, from Super Friends to Batman the Animated Series. That it was like animation in the DC universe was growing up with me. You know, to see that jump in sophistication, and now to be able to work on Young Justice and do another version of Batman and the DC universe it's been like such a privilege.
You're gonna make me cry. That's beautiful, man. From like fan to auteur and stuff. What was your Super Friends? Which incarnation? Which one did you jump in on?
Oh man, the very first stuff. I mean,
So like Wendy and Marvin.
Wendy Marvin, yeah, but
That's why we put them in Young Justice.
Right, yeah, they're you can actually catch them in the first
season.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Oh my God, you guys go deep.
you
man.
can see all our influences.
The Hall of Justice.
Absolutely, yeah. You can see all those influences.
I was always, I mean, I loved them all and stuff, and I watched them as they happened on Saturday morning back in the day and stuff. But I loved Challenge, and like Challenge of the Super Friends.
Right.
And of course, I loved the Legion of Doom. But man, they found a way to recreate that show over and over again. That a kid was like, "Oh, I'm back in. Oh, I'm still in. Oh, I like this, man."
It got
and
more
now they got it
serious.
here.
Yeah,
Isn't it
it's
nice? You can be shoulder to shoulder with the cartoons you grew up on DC Universe.
It's awesome.
That's fantastic. Don't forget to use those hashtags, hashtag DC Universe and hashtag DCU Livestream on social media, and tell us how stoked you are, man. And you can only get Young Justice Outsiders on DC Universe. This is the only place you're going to be able to find it. So be sure to go to DCUniverse.com to pre-order. For now, let's check in with Jim and see how he's doing on that drawing. Mr. Lee, how goes that drawing?
It's coming along.
Have you even started yet, sir?
No, it's creaked out. It's bad.
That's not bad, man. Like, it's one of those, like...
I should have shown you this one here.
Look, yes, I see.
My kid's
you're
drawing. It was
making a lot of work out of that. How long have you ever timed yourself? How long does it take to draw a Batman? What's the shortest you've ever drawn a Batman?
I could do a 1.5 minute Batman.
Seriously?
Yeah, side profile shot. Yeah.
It's such a weird skill set that like only like few people in this world will ever need, but you know exactly how long it takes.
It's just like signing your name. I mean, really, it's like an extended signature. But there's like a 2-minute one, a 5, 10. This is the hour one. So
Fantastic.
we'll see what happens here.
Like we said earlier, man, this is the set of DC Daily, a show that drops Monday through Friday here on DC Universe. And let's meet our first cast member. She's been here since day one with DC All Access, man. She was the face of the CW DC crossover event and the Justice League premiere. She's been around the world with DC, and now she's on DC Universe, man. One of the only other Smiths I care about in this world, Tiffany Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! I'm clapping for myself. It's fine.
Man. You are the grande dame, if you will, of DC. As far when I think of DC and people talking about it, you're usually there with your face up, all in it and whatnot. What's it like to be part of DC Universe now, to take it to the ultimate level? You got your own channel.
Honestly, it's so cool because I look back where DC All Access started, which was like 5 years ago, and what we were trying to do with that, and to be here on this set right now is incredible. And I feel like with DC All Access, it was always, there's so much more content, there's so much stuff we can talk about. I want the fans to see this and see this. And now we'll have something every single day, headlines for people to see and packages, and it's gonna be awesome.
If people like this, they like DC Daily, man, they got to give it up to DC All Access. You guys built the track, laid the trench. Like, it was all, that's how we got to this
Well,
point.
the show and the fans, because
That's true.
if people didn't tune in to watch DC All Access, show up at cons to see us, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So I'm thankful that all the fans watch and love geeking out with us as much as we like geeking out watching the stuff.
You excited to be bringing folks the headlines every day? Every day? Like,
Yeah.
how long? What was the frequency of DC All Access?
We had content go up every day towards the end. When we first started, it was just once a week.
Right.
And then, so as time went on, like I said, it was like we added more stuff. There was more movies and TV shows and actors to talk to and writers. And I think once people saw what we were doing too, other writers and artists were like, oh, wait, I have a comic. I'll go on that show.
I used to watch it and be like, I want to be on that show. I got to
And
be
you
on it
were.
as well. Yes. I just like the idea that like all they're talking about is DC.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in. And now, look at this.
Yep.
DC on the daily, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
I'm asking everybody that comes through, what's in your universe?
So for me, my DC universe had to obviously start with Wonder Woman. Growing up, my mom actually dressed up as Linda Carter. She was a teacher. She wore a little unitard everything with her like 70s glasses, because she needed to wear glasses, not because Wonder Woman did.
Although she did before she twirled.
She
started
did,
in those
yep,
big
yeah.
glasses.
My mom had them on with the outfit on. So I just remember seeing photos of that, and then my sister running around in her Wonder Woman under. Sorry, Shayna, I just totally blew up your spot on the live stream, whatever. I wore them too, run around being like, I'm Wonder Woman. So seeing women that I looked up to so much be this character, I was like, she's so incredible. I want to be just like her, and like my mom and sister. And then now, for a long time, Zatanna's been in that world. I'm obsessed with that character. I love her so much. So I'm excited that we're getting so many more characters because I'm like, more Zatanna, like Mystic U. I loved it.
I can't wait to see you doing all the daily stuff here. And also now there's DC a whole universe to come play on shows. I better see you in a show. I better see you popping up on some shows. So we talked a bit about Linda Carter's Wonder Woman, a show that we both loved as kids. Well, I saw it live. She probably saw it like on video or something like that. That show, Wonder Woman, has been remastered in HD for the first time, man, and that's on DC Universe. And there are tons of other great shows that you can watch when DC Universe launches on September 15th. Let's look at some of them right here.
These shows and more will be available on DC Universe. The 1970s Wonder Woman in full HD. Batman the Animated Series in full HD. Young Justice. All 9 seasons of Super Friends. Birds of Prey. 2003's Teen Titans cartoon. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. 2014's Constantine. Batman Beyond. And the Justice League Animated Series.
All right, we're talking about TV shows here on DC Universe, and when talking about DC TV, there's only one man we could think of to help us out, man. He's the next member of the DC Daily cast and another DC All Access alum. He's also our resident in-house DC TV expert. Give it up for Hector Navarro. Hector!
I'm just geeking out. It's Kevin Smith. I'm just geeking out. This is the coolest thing.
Last time I saw you,
Jim Lee, and it's Kevin
Look
Smith.
at you, we're between people.
You couldn't see his face though. I clapped for myself, and Hector's like, as you're talking about him, he's like, yeah.
I have spoken to you before. What's it like though for you to now be part of DC Universe?
Oh, it's a dream come true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a dream come true. It's this stuff that is part of so many people's and ours childhood, and I love these characters so much, and I love getting a chance to talk about why I love these characters so much. They literally changed my life. They made me a good person. So I love that I get to talk about
morality
that, man.
bar, man.
Yes. That's what it's all about.
It's
Exactly.
true. It's
So-
for like I went to Catholic school as a kid and stuff, and I didn't pay much attention in church. But when I read the comics, I paid a lot of attention. I've always loved DC books because they're about people that, like, when the worst thing in the world is happening and everyone's running away from it, these characters are running toward it, and that helps you build your own set of like a morality scale. I'm absolutely with you on that.
Yeah.
What is it? What are you excited to be bringing us news on the daily?
Oh, absolutely, especially the TV stuff. I'm
Yes.
so excited about all
So much of it.
this horizon of TV that we're getting, the live action stuff, the animated stuff. I'm a huge cartoon guy, so just the fact that we're getting more Young Justice is so exciting. Harley Quinn's getting her own show. Like, this is a good time to be a DC fan.
It's like, and you talk about a lot of DC TV, usually out there in the world.
Sure.
But you're going to be able to talk about DC TV that's being produced for DC Universe.
I know.
Isn't that
I know.
neat?
It's the coolest thing.
Watching other darn shows, man, that they're pulling out of the toy box. I can't wait. What's in your universe? We're asking everybody.
Kevin, I love that question so much. Kevin Smith, my universe, my real introduction, I like to think that I got the best of both worlds because as I was growing up, I was 5 years old when Batman the Animated Series premiered. So for me, that is, to this day, really the definitive sort of idealized version of that character. You know, I read comic books and I hear Kevin Conroy. So that was happening, and as I was growing up with that, as that morphed into eventually Justice League Unlimited, and that DC animated universe that is still so good, I also had reruns of Super Friends, so I loved the Silver Age stuff. I went to the library, gang, because this was pre-internet.
Yes.
We're the last generation that remembers the time before the internet.
You had a library card.
I had a library card, and there were reference books about the history of DC Comics. So I was the weirdest kid in the world that I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, and I knew who some of those early, trailblazers were that created these characters and why they created them, and just reading that in like essentially a textbook was my entryway into this world, and I have never come up for air since then.
They got that here in DC Universe too. They've got the what is it called? The encyclopedia.
Oh my God! And you mentioned it
dive into
earlier.
characters.
Who's Who in the DC Universe?
Remember that
I
book?
love that. I got them all. I got all the original.
That was one of my favorite books. It wasn't a comic that told an adventure story. It was just literally the guide to all of their characters.
But it was a comic that told every story.
Yes.
That's why you got your money's worth.
You get like 25 different character stories within one.
I was just thinking, there's going to be fans that are getting introduced to so many characters on the DC Universe platform, and how much easier and more accessible it is just to be like, I don't look up this character.
The
Let's find some stuff
encyclopedia
in there.
will be
Oh my
helpful
gosh,
for
yeah.
people like your mom who are like, who's this? And you're
Even
like, that's
us.
Captain Boomerang. Not to me, lady. I know all this character.
But just like reminders of like small stuff where you're like, oh, that happened and this person was here, and just like small tidbits where it's like,
What's a Cave Carson? Let's check up the
Let me
who's
tell
who in
you,
the
it's
DC
right
universe.
here on the
Yeah.
DC Universe. The new shows are great, man. I even got to direct some episodes of Flash and Supergirl, as you know, so I love that DC TV. But I love that DC Universe gives fans the opportunity to dive back into the classics, man. The shows that like started it all. Like one of my personal favorites is Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And you smile, but that's absolutely true, man, because back in the day, they were waving the flag for comics. We had a legitimate comic book show. Superman was in prime time, man. Let's check out a clip from the show right now.
Cutting it close.
I still got 8 minutes. What'd I get him?
Check suspenders. You remember the card?
Oh, no.
Who's your buddy, huh? Who's your pal? I am, right?
How many fingers am I holding up?
Good morning, Lois.
You're late.
Good morning, Clark. So what'd you get him?
Checked suspenders.
Didn't you get him those last year?
Yeah? He liked them, didn't he?
Hello.
How did you get here? Another time machine. Where is it? You will tell me.
You like violence so much? Come on, let's see what you got. Hate to tell you, you hit like a girl.
I was wishing really hard that Terry Hatcher was actually here during that clip, and courtesy of the magic of the DC Universe, guess what? Shazam! Terry Hatcher's actually here, man! Give it up for her! She's been busy with her YouTube channel, Hatching Change, man. Terry, thanks for coming over and making some time for us. How weird is, just while it was playing, we were chit-chatting, and she goes, I'm hearing myself. It's like we were just playing it right here.
It's so weird. I have such fond memories for that show and experience. It's I actually saw Dean not that long ago, but we were talking about how when you're in it, you know, when you're in it and you're working 80 hours a week and you're just in it, it's kind of hard to hang on to the magic of it because you're sort of just drowning in how hard you're working sometimes. But when you get this far away from it and you look back, I mean, I don't know. It has the most loyal fans in the world.
Still to this day.
Still to this
I remember
day.
when the show was on, like, it was the early days of the internet. And that photo of you, like, wrapped in the Superman cape
Yes.
was, like, the most downloaded image of all time.
Isn't that crazy? I used
That's
to
how
joke
popular
that
she
it was
was.
just like one guy in his basement hitting
Going
the
over
button
and
over
again.
and over and over again.
What was it like to be involved with this show, man? Like, this is a show that holds a dear place in a lot of comic book fan hearts because now we live in a comic book world where they make movies of 5 movies a week with comic book characters. But you're talking about this was a period where, like, you were starving to see something live action, and there it was. There was Lois and Clark. You got to play an iconic character in the DC universe, Lois Lane. What was that like?
It almost makes me speechless to think about it in hindsight that way, because so many amazing actresses have played that role, and getting to be one of them, to get to play that character, who I have honestly had people come up to me and say, I went to journalism school because of you. You know, like
Isn't that awesome?
it's unbelievable how, or you know, I watched that show with my parents when I was growing up, and you were part of our family. I mean, to be in a show that really seemed to make a difference to people. They have these very specific memories about the family members they were with when they watched it, or what the characters meant to them. And for me, I still go back to that show specifically because of the spin it had on the romance, on the romantic comedy aspect of those two characters.
It was like, at the time, moonlighting
yes,
in the world of superheroes.
And I loved that show. Yeah. And that was, in my mind, what I was trying to channel, was a moonlighting version of those two characters. And I think we executed that.
You guys had tremendous chemistry.
Yeah.
Did you have to, did they like screen test you guys, or did they just threw you in a room?
We didn't. We tested independently, but we never read together. So it just kind of, that was just sort of a magic thing. And it really, and it's still there. I mean, I saw him in Australia at a Comic-Con event like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. I lose track of time. But seeing him, I mean, it was the same thing. It was like no time had passed. It was that I don't know what that people think, like, oh, you should get married. I mean, it's not like that.
Look, I like the guy.
It's not like that in real life, but there is some magical thing to the chemistry. I don't know why.
You saw it in all the episodes, man. I remember when that show broke, even the title was awesome. You were just like, wow, that's clever. Like Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark, yeah,
like
yeah.
Now, if I remember my Lois and Clark history correctly, did you co-write an episode?
I did co-write an episode with a comedian friend of mine, Pat Hazel. We've been friends forever, and he was a writer and had written on Seinfeld and other shows. And so I asked him to help me because I'd never written a script before. And we pitched this idea and they let us write it. And I mostly remember that my friend Pat kept us on a schedule, which as a writer, we have to write 3 pages a day, this many days, and then the script will be due when it's supposed to be due. And we stuck to that and we did it. So I was proud of that.
Did you happen to notice the suit behind you? That's Dean.
Oh my God.
Warner Brothers Archive folks have kept all this stuff wonderful, and that's the one that they chose for the set, was Dean Cain.
It is sort of amazing. I think he feels a little gypped about how the suits have progressed in the last, they've gotten really cool.
And comfortable.
That's sort of almost like looking at a pair of pantyhose. You know what I mean?
It is. It looks like they came out of a leg's egg.
Which hats off to him that he was able to pull that off without all the, stuff.
And you're absolutely right. That's on a certain level, whoever puts on that suit doesn't give enough credit for hey man, you pulled the suit off.
Yeah, you pulled the suit off.
You didn't have quite the same problem. You got to wear normal.
Although they did stick me in a suit as Ultra Woman, I think, or something. Ultra Woman, I did have to wear the suit. But yeah, I actually tried to do a little homage to the fans. I felt like this was kind of retro-y Lois feeling, and I wanted the fans to know that I was thinking of them when I got dressed today.
It's very, Lois today would be a modern day Stiletto Stoner of sorts. And
that perfect.
I wanted to ask you about returning to DC with Supergirl. You and I did an episode of Supergirl together.
Which I was so excited to get to be here with you today, because you were a fabulous director, and I loved getting to hang out with you on that.
You played Mon-El's mom, who we were calling Mom-El. On the show.
Queen Rhea.
Queen Rhea,
yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely the most evil person I've ever played.
You killed Hercules.
Yeah, right.
Kevin Sorbo played Jasmine.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah. That was rough. I had a great time. I would think that the first and foremost reason I did it when they asked me to do it was because I really believe in honoring DC fans. And I knew that they would love the idea of a Lois Lane being on Supergirl in some capacity.
It was huge. It was in terms of the stunt, the stunt casting or whatever, it was just oh, this is awesome.
But set aside that, getting to play not just an evil character, but an evil alien kind of allows you as an actor to just really remove any human morality you might imagine that you have to make sense with. Even if you were playing a serial killer or something, you'd still be a human playing a serial. But when you're an alien, you can just really,
throw it off.
Yeah,
and
you can do anything. So it was great.
This is one of my favorite little moments from the episode that we worked on together. At one point, Chris Wood was playing Mon-El, and he was your kid. And so there was a scene where he's like, I'm never going to see you again. And he was like leaving you and stuff. And so after we did the rehearsal, I walked over, I was like, Terry. And Terry goes, you want me to cry, all loud, you want me to cry? No way, Kevin Smith. I was like, I was kidding. I went back to the director chair. And in the very next take, you rolled like a single tear. And as soon as the take was over, she goes, that was for you, Kevin Smith. I love that, man.
Hey, I want to do what the director wants. And you were so great to work with. Oh my gosh, the crew just loved you. You were so fun.
It's such a fun environment.
You're the most positive person.
She's trying to get me a job. Thank you.
No, you just bring the most positive energy and gifts, like silly putty and
I do. I was
candy
handing out lots
and
of
like
stuff.
yo-yos.
I
don't
don't really direct. I come in like a drunken uncle and just hand things out.
And that works. That works.
Seems to keep people.
We'll work for treats.
That's why I'm here today. I'm walking away with some swag off this set. I hope to leave with a bat missing.
Well, when that Batman suit is missing, we'll all know.
We'll know. Yeah, it's in my back pocket. Tell us about Hatching Change. What is that?
Okay, so I guess quickly, in the last couple years, I've just felt strongly that our society has gotten more divisive and not talking to each other, and many people feeling alone and isolated. And I have had this vintage VW bus camper, a 1978 VW bus camper. I've had it for like 20 years.
Okay.
And my daughter and I have been camping in it. And it was just sitting in my driveway. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I just drove that down to Ventura Boulevard and asked random people to get in it with me and just talk about life? And somebody agreed with me that that was a good idea. So we tried it. And then people really liked getting in the van with me. It's a good thing I'm not like a creepy guy or something. And you're like,
nobody in the history of humanity has ever said people like getting in the van.
But people like getting in the van with me.
No doubt.
And it really is this, I don't know if it's the retroness of it or it's just very simple, but people like getting in it. They like talking to me. And so now I did it in Cornwall, England. I did it down at Comic-Con in San Diego.
What was that like? A bunch of people being like, oh, Lois!
Kind of, but it quickly, whether they're a fan of mine or not, it quickly becomes like, what is your problem? And how can we try to make you feel seen and heard and maybe fix it, or maybe just share what you're worried about. And I don't know, it's just been, I've met the most amazing people and had the most amazing experiences. So that's called Van Therapy, and it's on my channel, Hatching Change.
Van Therapy, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Look at you making content.
And I'm also doing a cooking thing called Don't Eat Shit Out of a Box.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, well, it's called Don't Eat It Out of a Box, but it's really Don't Eat Shit Out of a Box. And it's just basically based on me trying to get people to not eat processed food and to show you that it's really not that difficult, it's not that expensive. You can cook for yourself and eat healthy food and be more healthy. So those are things I care about, people and food. And health.
And I went vegan recently, so I've stopped eating processed foods as well, man. So that is really important.
And you look amazing and healthy, and I'm so happy to see that.
So it's still around, it's trying to stay above ground. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you so much for stopping by. Everyone out there, you can find Terry on her YouTube channel, Hatching Change. She just told you about the show. That was awesome. You could also see Terry as Lois Lane on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, streaming at launch on DC Universe.
I think I might even have to revisit Lois and Clark on DC Universe.
You know what I'm saying?
It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I kind of want to watch it again.
Sack out and just stream. Just binge them all.
Is that weird if you binge yourself?
No.
It's a little.
No.
I think it might be weird, but I might do it anyway.
Master binging is totally okay.
Master binging. Oh my God.
Coin that phrase. Master binging makes up for my mistakes.
Show.
Thank you.
Master binging.
We're moving now from the soaring heights of Metropolis to the gritty streets of Gotham, man. One of the most iconic animated shows ever, of course, is Batman the Animated Series. It introduced us to a cavalcade of new and unforgettable characters led by the inimitable Harley Quinn. I loved this Paul Dini and Bruce Timm creation so much that I named my only begotten daughter after that cartoon, after that character, after Harley Quinn. I could gush here all day, but instead, I'm gonna let the one true Batman himself, Kevin Conroy, tell you all about what's happening with Batman, the Animated Series on DC Universe. Take it away, Batman.
Oh, hi. I'm Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. I'm here in the library of my Batcave, and I was thrilled to hear that Batman the Animated Series was getting a new high-definition release. I haven't seen it yet, but now that I have the new DC Universe, I'm going to check out my favorite episode, Perchance to Dream. Come with me. So this is the app for all the new DC stuff, and they have Gotham by Gaslight, and Batman Year One, and Wonder Woman, Batman Beyond. Will be very happy to see that. And Justice League, the original Justice League with the whole gang. This is great. This is so cool. They have everything on here. Now let's find Batman the Animated Series. Here we go. Batman Animated Series Season 1. Let's go. This is so cool. The colors are incredible. Oh, this is such a trip seeing this. I haven't seen this in a long time. This looks so beautiful. This artwork is amazing. God, the acting is incredible.
You're not well, Mr. Wayne. You need professional help. Liar! You know what's going on. This is a dream, and you're the one responsible.
What I find most exciting about the series coming to HD is, aside from the incredible scripts and incredible performances, the secret weapon of Batman was the artwork. It was that incredible artwork. It was beautiful. It was the first time a show had ever been painted on a black background. That was revolutionary. And it made all the art and the color just pop. For the first 6 months, we were doing recordings for a new show that we didn't really know what it was going to look like. We were working from images of what we saw the characters were going to look like, but we didn't really know what the show was going to look like. And they take your recordings and they send them off to the artists, and about 6 months later there's a process called ADR, when you sync up the audio with the visual. So the first ADR session for the first Batman episode was on Leather Wings. And I'm sitting there at this studio, this sound studio in Warner Brothers, and a huge screen, and whoosh, the Shirley Walker score comes up, and these brilliant red, blue, green colors come out of this black background. I was like, holy mother. I mean, it was just incredible. And I'm pretty sure Mark was there. I said, Mark, did you have a clue this is what we were doing? That this is what it was going to look like? It was just so amazing. It was a great experience to see it for the first time. But that's what I think the audience is going to experience now in seeing the HD. I think a lot of them are going to get what I got that first time I was sitting in the studio, because it was that kind of visual excitement.
Yes! Okay, man, DC Universe is a big place, and fans had some questions on social media. Don't forget to keep tagging us with hashtag DC Universe and hashtag DCU Livestream. Keep that conversation going on social media. But for now, let's look at what some of you want to know, man. First question. We're waiting for it. It'll be there in a sec. First question, will DC Universe be on gaming consoles? Yes. That's me not saying yes, that's me answering your question. Yes to your question. DC Comics and video games go together like Batman and Robin. The Batman Arkham series, Injustice, and DC Universe Online, to name a few. All we can say right now is we've heard the message loud and clear, and stay tuned to DC Daily for news we've got planned for all you DC gamers.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah, come on. Like, games are a big part of the DC equation at this stage. Like, there's some people we talk about, like, oh, my Batman was Adam West, or my Batman was Michael Keaton. For some people, my Batman was a digital guy. Was, you know, the Arkham Asylum.
Voiced by Kevin Conroy.
Conroy himself, and that's everybody's.
I'm like, I want to play Arkham Knight, and then be like, let me take a pause. I'm going to read some comics.
Yes.
Hold on, back into the game.
Yes. Oh my God, you've described a world I want to die in. Here's next question. How many devices can you stream at a time? And the answer to that is at launch, you could stream DC Universe content on 2 devices at once. We got that? 2 devices. You got 2?
Yeah.
iPad, iPhone, television, that's 3.
Yeah.
But I'll do one and then the other, you know.
True. I got the Apple TV, so I can like plow, throw it up there. Man, this is gonna look nice up there, big, huge and stuff. Next question: how often will the library of shows and movies be updated? It's a fair question. The answer to that is short answer is a lot. To go in more detail, DC Daily is every weekday.
Yeah.
Yeah. New episodes of DC Universe Originals are going to drop on Fridays for the rest of the year. And then movies and TV shows are being added monthly. So yeah, a lot.
Okay.
All right.
So that means that when I power through everything that's already on there, movie-wise, I just have to wait 30 days until that kind of gets switched up.
And they throw some new stuff on.
Yeah. But basically every day you need to be on there to be like, oh, what's new? Next week, this is going to be on there. Awesome. So you're ready for it. We want you to be prepared.
We want you to DC Universe and chill. That's what we're getting at.
Exactly.
Yes, and all that implies.
That is good date night.
Hit me with another fan question, kids. All right, exactly what shows are we getting, they want to know. Arrowverse, Justice League Unlimited, Smallville, Gotham? The answer to that is there are too many to list here, but I can mention both Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are going to be available at launch. You'll be able to watch the entire series, both series. And DC's working to get more shows on the service as quickly as possible. What are you guys looking forward to seeing up there eventually? Eventually, I want the entire Arrowverse up there.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you could just sit there, take 1 week of your life,
Yes.
say goodbye to all the relatives, and just dive deep.
Binge it all. Just
all
right.
of it.
Just
And what are you
that.
looking forward to?
That's a real master binge right there. That whole
That's
thing.
a master binge
right
there.
He was waiting for
It's getting
that
out there.
He was
Stop trying to
waiting
make
for
master
that
binge
one.
happen.
No, in all seriousness, when you mentioned Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, I thought of my favorite episode of that show, which is a 2-parter, and I love part 1, but part 2, Hereafter, where Superman gets sent into the future, where everybody thinks that he's dead, and then he grows that beard and is the powerless Superman where he's bleeding and has to go on that quest. Oh, I love that Superman so much.
Yes. But now I want to go home and find that episode.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good
Soon you'll
episode.
be able to.
That's true. That's very true. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
I like the animated series, Batman the Animated Series for me, just binging that because I found, like, obviously I've watched episodes here and there, but just being able to have it in one place and sit and watch those. I mean, Harley Quinn being created on that show for me is such a big deal. Not quite as big of a deal as it was for you.
Yeah, it's an understatement for you. And they're going to be on HD on DC Universe. So you're going to be able to look at those in a way that, like, most of us never saw them before. When I was watching them, I watched them on, like, a rabbit-eared black and white TV at that convenience store where we shot that movie and stuff. So to be able to watch them in HD.
And I can't wait to see just the stream of credits of all of the actors that were involved because that's something that I think when I was younger, I had no idea. But the voiceover talent that was on that show is so incredibly mind-blowing that seeing it on the screen, I'm like, yes, I can't wait.
And you got to think about it, man. You're Batman and Joker from that world, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, both so strong with that performance that they've carried those roles on for a quarter of a century at this point.
Insane.
Like, not very few people could say, like, I played Batman for like 25 years. I played the Joker for 25 years. Okay, last question for now. Will you cover the Arrowverse, or just DCU shows? Well, this is one of the easier ones today because, of course, DC Daily is going to cover everything related to DC. Everything, man. It's their goal to deliver all the news on TV, movies, animation, comics, video games, and merch that you guys want, man. That was a lot of questions, wasn't it? But good ones.
Yeah.
Fair enough questions. But I'm in a very generous mood right now. So you know what? The DC fans whose questions that we just read, they're going to get a 1-year subscription to DC Universe, man, thanks to the fine folks at DC Daily, man. If you already have a subscription, you're sitting there going, come on, man, I bought mine months ago. DC Daily is going to give you this omnibus edition of the new Teen Titans instead, man. Look at this. It's so heavy, you could probably stop a punch, a bullet, a sword with this book. I'm not meant to be tried. Don't try that. We got a ton more for you here on the DC Universe. Take a look at what's coming next.
Coming up, Greg Capullo checks out the Living Room Comic Reader, and we give you a look back on George Perez's legendary career with DC. We've also got a live unboxing, special giveaways, and an opportunity for you to answer live trivia along with everyone who's watching the stream. So stick around.
It's funny. All right, now I'm a little worried.
God, I love that movie. The Bat Missile in that clip is the exact same one we have here on the set, man. Check that out. Now, as Batman fans, and like, look, I love that movie. I worship at the altar of all Batman films. But, come on. Like, you know, you got to be real specific-minded to be like, one day the car's got to get real skinny. So I should prepare for that sort of thing. You got a button
planning.
even for that.
That's Batman planning,
That
yeah.
is.
I think it's like, oh, I'm going to build this thing. Now I'm going to lead the chase somewhere where I can use that cool toy that I made.
It's true, man. It's a guy who's just like, I'm prepared to start shit, so I think I'm gonna. And he goes out there and does that. You can see the Bat Missile here on set every weekday on DC Daily when DC Universe launches on September 15th, man. Don't forget to sign up on DCUniverse.com. Now, we've been talking about some amazing DC content, but I'm an OG fan who got his start with the comic books. So DC Universe has you covered here as well with the best digital comic reader in the game, man. It could easily go from your phone to your tablet to your smart TV. Could you imagine reading comics on your TV, man? The suits in marketing call it living room experience, but we like to call it couch mode, man. Look, there are thousands of comics ready for you to dive into on day one. Here are some of the highlights. Check it out.
DC fans include the first appearances of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Essentials like Shazam! The New Beginning and Identity Crisis. There's also DC classic moments like Batman number 497, Superman number 75, Flashpoint number 1, and the redefining of Wonder Woman with 1987's Wonder Woman number 1. We've also got classic issues of the New Teen Titans, like the New Teen Titans number 1 and Terror of Trigon. Then fan favorites like the Batman Gothic storyline, the Authority series, Green Arrow Year 1 number 1, Jack Kirby's New Gods, and you can even read along with your TV viewing with the Batman Adventures number 1.
DC Universe is your one-stop shop for all of your favorite DC movies and TV shows, but there's so much more. Buried in each build of DC Universe is a comic book reader so that you can enjoy comic books in ways that you never have before. I'm going to take you through a tour of Justice League, which is one of my favorites, penciled by Jim Lee, authored by Jeff Johns. You'll see you can immediately jump into a page-by-page view of the comic book. You can also jump into a panel-by-panel view. We've included a number of different ways that you can engage with comic books, so included in page-by-page and panel by panel is an autoplay mode. So I can press play, and now every few seconds, this is going to animate through panel by panel of the experience. So now you could sit back and actually watch a comic book instead of reading it. So that's just a quick look at the comic book reader. Let's talk to Greg Capullo right now, one of my all-time favorites, to find out what he thinks.
Hey guys, you might not recognize me without my shades, but I'm Greg Capullo. You might know me as the guy who drew the new 52 Batman as well as ripping the multiverse apart with Dark Knight's Metal. I've got DC Universe here. I'm going to take the comic reader for a spin. Are you ready? So I'm taking it for a test drive and see if they did it right or if they messed it all up. And I'm a very harsh judge, so let's start. We're starting off at a strong point. You got Linda Carter. I grew up seeing that Wonder Woman on television. I'd watch that right now, but I think they want me to scroll down to like comic books because I'm a little bit involved with that sort of thing. But that's one of the ones that changed my life right there. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. That's the almighty Frank Miller. That's my favorite Batman book, and I recommend it to anybody, especially people who've never picked up a comic book, because I just think it's so great and it's so perfect. And he's just got great shots. This in particular, when Wayne's parents are getting killed, okay? And so here's the mastery page right here. So the necklace, the pearl necklace, Ms. Wayne, Martha, is caught on the gunman's wrist. Now this is classy storytelling, okay? Now look what we have here. We have a string of pearls that slowly gets separated until you have the image of just floating pearls against a black backdrop. I mean, that's masterful storytelling, and as many times as I've looked at this, I'm getting chills talking about it and seeing it. Now watch this. Again, I'm getting chills, okay? When Frank finally gives us a big shot, right? Because up in here, it's been little innuendos, shadows, close-up of hands, you know, the batarangs and everything like that. And when he delivers, it's like seeing the shark for the first time in Jaws. Boom, the big splash page, Batman, boom, I'm alive again, I feel reborn. That is a fantastic book. If you don't have it, you should definitely get it and read it as many times until, if you have a digital copy, until your digital device breaks. If you have the paper copy, until it's ready to fall apart. Get it, it's magnificent, it's perfect. But let's see, I see something peeking up down here. Oh yeah, there's the bad boy, me and Scott Snyder. Let's promote our book, because I want everybody to buy our book, which they've already done plenty of them, we're grateful for, but let's see what happens if we click on that. And we're into the action. That was my first real cool pinup shot of Batman right there. Tell me that's not pretty. Look at that, you can zoom in on this and everything. Scroll down a little bit so you can get them captured. Look at that. I think I'd leave it right there just like that all day, just to impress my wife. We're just gonna keep, look at that, nice and tight. Boom, back out, scroll around the panels. Next page, hit enter, you get the full shot. You can see the full page. But if that's not satisfying, you zoom in, boom, scroll around the page. Pretty much any way you want to see it is how we can do it. Hit enter again, pulls you all the way out. Page after page. So, you know, I've wanted to draw comic books since I was like 8 years old. That's when I knew this is what I wanted to do for a living. So the first cool thing was obviously seeing my artwork printed in a comic book. But now, all these years later with technology, look what I'm actually doing now. I'm seeing my artwork on a television. You get that cool, crisp resolution. You could zoom in nice and tight and really see the detail that we put in. Luckily, I got a 50-inch screen here. Some of you even bigger, so it'll look even sexier. So, but look at that, right? Even Batman's smiling. He's happy about it. He's going, yeah, this is cool, man. Well, he doesn't have that accent, you know. Right. Yeah, this is cool, man. Something more along those lines. But there is something for everybody. You could go to, we got Superman on here, Justice League, he's got a little bit of everybody, and Batman's up front and center, as he should be. Scroll to the right, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans. We've got a great assortment. I recommend anybody who is into comics or movies, any kind of content, and DC happens to be your jam, well, it has most everything you could care to have. It's got comic books, it's got movie, it's gonna have merchandise, it's got a forum where you could talk about things with your friends, you know? So I say, get it, I approve.
Yes! Thanks, Rob. And how about Greg Capullo, man, showing off his run on Batman, man? Those are some phenomenal books, and they all look great on DC Universe. Honestly, folks, you're not going to believe how rad it is to read comics this way. But now, we've got another DC Daily cast member for you, man. You may know him from such TV shows as Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, or Torchwood, man. He also co-wrote the Dark Archer comic book series. He is the one and the only, the original Arrowman. Give it up for John Barrowman, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, sir?
Can I take you everywhere for one of those introductions?
I will. I'll always introduce you
I expect
like
that every week, by the way, everybody.
You'll only get that if you be honest with us. How did they afford you for this show? I've seen you on late night television. I've seen you fighting Arrow.
You know what? Part of it, and what is great, and the reason I want to be part of the DC Universe, because not only am I part of it with the TV shows I've done, and also with the comics my sister and I have written.
Nice.
Just a little plug there for you. So the fact of the matter is that it's all about what you're passionate about. It's all about what you love, what your superhero is, what your superhero does, what you like to read, what you like to look at. That's why I want to be part of it, because when I came over from the UK as a kid in 1976, I had never experienced superheroes or anything like it before. And the first thing for me, I'm going to kind of go into this a little bit.
Do it. Take us
there. And these are part of my own private collection from home. The thing that I was first introduced to the DC world. Are you ready for this?
Wait,
What?
Jim was like, "What's he got over there?"
I'm
Jim's
whipping
like,
something out, Jim.
I didn't bring any toys.
Jim, okay, so Adam West was a Batman for me that I was introduced to through it was WFLD TV, Channel 32 in Chicago, and after school I used to watch that Batman, and that was my first kind of introduction, and I thought, oh my, what is this world? Which took me on a complete journey, not only with action figures, but with comic books. And I brought a few on here because my friend Ross Von Hoff, who got me into comic books, and I know he's probably watching, but just so you know that I'm not just saying all this stuff off the top, Justice League was the first comic that Malcolm Merlin, the character I play on Arrow, was.
Is it in that issue?
It's in that
the
issue.
annual right there?
Yep, and that was his first appearance in that world. But what I love about DC, because I'm in entertainment, right? I like to entertain people. You've seen me do all
What?
my
You like
stuff.
to entertain
You are, for those who've never seen him, like, get your butt to a con and see John in person. He is a fantastic, as you can see, in the room entertainer.
Thank you very much. So the DC universe encapsulates all that.
Yeah.
You've got things like, Captain Action. You've also got things that I don't know if people know that DC did a whole army and a war-based.
It's all war comics.
They
back
think
in the
another company did that, but DC hit it also and did a very good job of it. And for
Sergeant
those
Rock back in the day.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, and I know you're going to scream at me online for this, but a lot do, DC, what does it stand for? Detective Comics. Right, so we're giving you a little bit of history.
That's why we're all on this show.
However,
Treasury edition.
These are awesome. These are awesome because this is where, for me, DC becomes the entertainment factor. Not only do you get a mixture of things, but for instance, they would do these special limited collection, limited edition stuff, like Super Friends. And I heard you mention, where are
Wendy
they?
and Marvin right there.
Right there earlier. So they do all these kind of things where they're different adventures. It's something special. It makes you feel part of something, and that's one thing that DC did for me. Not only that, come on, look at this. It's Christmas with the superhero.
I love it.
No.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is there.
And Santa has a secret identity, Kris Kringle.
Yeah.
Hello.
So, yeah,
And he
it
has
works.
superpowers. I mean,
he has a sleigh that flies too.
Clark Kent, Kris Kringle.
We're on to something.
Superman, Santa Claus.
Red suit.
Oh.
Don't
They're
say
all the
anything.
same
You heard it all
person.
here on the DC universe, right? Then
Look at
something
this.
like this.
Yes.
This is the thing. For me, and most of you know me, from the TV shows and stuff, but you don't know that I have a big career in musical theater prior to this.
Yeah.
And DC at one point, they collaborated with somebody else, but I'm going to cover it up right now, and did things like this, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So what I'd love to do as part of the team and part of the cast is take you on some kind of journeys in the future to show you the different aspects of the DC universe that might not just be superhero, that might be something that's entertainment. Because if I had to choose in my DC universe to pick one person.
You got more toys?
Oh yeah, listen, I got a 4-car
Wait.
garage full of this stuff.
I also just want everyone watching to know, no one told us to bring any
No one.
props today.
No.
But John showed up with like boxes upon boxes and
you
was
know
just like,
why?
do you want to see all this stuff? And I was like, yes, I do.
Because I am John Barrow Man. If I had to choose one from the DC universe, and I'll tell you why. This is one of my favorites. This is my Superman.
Ooh, that's
As you
a
can
nice
see,
Chris Reeve,
never
man.
been taken out of the packaging.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The thing, when I came over from Scotland to the U.S., and when I also was introduced to Superman, I knew of him in Scotland, but the thing I loved about him, the thing that I try to carry out in my life today, is the fact that he was wanting to help people. And we were just saying, he had his powers, he knows his powers and he knows how to use them, but he uses them to help other people. Not to try and get more powers, not to try to build upon them, but uses what he has, which is what I try to do as a man, use what I have to help others. And that's why in my DC universe, if I had to choose one, it would be Superman.
Look at that, man. Come on. That's all class. I'm not going to let you get out of here without talking briefly about Arrowverse. What's it like to stand across from Ollie Queen himself?
Well, as you all know, I mean, I love playing Malcolm Merlin, and Stephen Amell does a fantastic job as Oliver Queen. And some of the best times I have had with my television career, apart from my Doctor Who and Torchwood years. I love doing it with Steven. He's a good laugh, good fun. And it was great to be part of a world that when they called me on the telephone, we're talking 5-6 years ago, they rang me up and I said to my husband, Scott, I said, they want me to be part of this new show. It's called Arrow. But they're talking to me and they said, they want me to do it, da-da-da. And I said, I would love to do it. And as they're talking to me, I'm on the computer looking up Steven. And I looked at Scott and I went, look at this. This is what I'll be working with. Scott went, he said, you have to do it. and I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm done. Yeah, all you need to do is give me a scene with Stephen Amell with his shirt off. I'm in. They're like, no problem.
They're like, hey, man, it's Arrow. That's every scene.
And they did. End of season 1, there was that scene where Stephen is strung up by the chains in the warehouse and Malcolm Merlin's circling around him. And I got my scene, but what you need to see is if they ever show the outtakes from that.
I'm like, I want a reverse of just your face.
No, you have to, because I told I'll tell you what, if we have time, I told the camera guys, don't stop running. Whatever you do, don't stop running, because I'll walk away, but then I'm going to turn around. And as I walked away, and if I'm going to stand up for this, okay? Steven there we go. Steven's strung up like this, okay? And as I turn around, I said something to the extent of, all right, Oliver, I will kill you. And I turn and walk away, but I turn around and I go, not until I do this!
Oh my God.
Going,
you are a delight to have on set.
Anyway.
Little do you know, Kevin, that's how we got him on this show.
Is that it?
Just Kevin having a shirtless moment on this
Let me
show.
tell you, if they trust me up on behalf of this guy, done and done.
Let's
Charm
recreate
Factory.
that scene.
Yeah, right here.
On one of the shows, let's recreate it, okay?
People will be like, that guy don't look like Stephen Amell if I'm doing it, man.
Don't worry, you'll be fine.
It's all about the moment. You know
all
what?
about the moment.
Our performances will convince
And it's
them.
about comfort. Yes. I will make you feel comfortable.
That was convincing.
That was a promise that sounded almost like a creepy threat. It's been a while since we checked in on Mr. Jim Lee, man. How nice of us to stick the publisher of DC Entertainment in a corner and make him draw us art, man. How's it going over there, Jim?
It's going great, Kevin. Thank you very much for checking in on me.
What is, take us through, where are you in the drawing at this point?
I'm just going in circles. I finished about 20 minutes ago.
Oh my God, Jim Lee, are you actually acting then?
Yes, I'm pretending to actually create something.
I'm a director, and I'm telling you, I know my stuff. That's pretty good acting right there.
So, Jim, you said you could draw a Batman in how long and how quick?
1.5 minutes.
Okay, so let's start the clock now.
Oh. Wow.
And we're gonna. And can you do it?
Well, yeah.
Another one.
Piece of paper. Since he's going in circles.
Jim's like, I was only prepared to pretend to draw for 20 minutes.
Does anyone have a Sharpie?
Anyone have a Sharpie?
Get the man a Sharpie, for heaven's sakes.
Someone got a Sharpie. Chuck it in
Jim
here.
Lee needs to
All
draw.
right, we love
This
it.
is
Here we go.
live,
Got
guys.
it.
This
All right.
is how it goes. I love it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you said 1.5 minutes, right?
Sure.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
This is live and it's happening.
So keep.
Gentlemen, can I ask you a question real
No.
quick? This is very important. It's kind of about DC Universe. Explain the French tuck to those of us that don't know.
Okay, the French tuck. I'm standing up again. You got 1.5 minutes there, Jim. French tuck means you tuck in the front.
Right.
Okay, and then you let the back hang.
Right.
Okay.
Party in the front, party in the back, business up front.
How much time do I have left?
Yeah, you got 1 minute left.
I'm done.
You're done.
Yes.
What? Are you serious?
I forgot I have a 30-second one, but, we
Listen.
don't like to talk about those. I usually can last
You
one.
hold the 30-second Batmans for the worst case scenario and
That's
stuff.
pretty.
That's crazy.
That's
like,
impressive as
like
hell.
he's gonna be bad at it.
Look at that, man. Look at
If
that.
you gave me like an hour, my Batman would not look like that.
Classy. I
I'd
know.
maybe get the ears.
I can maybe, if you gave me about an hour, I think I could give you the points and a long cape coming down. It just look like a triangle with 2 points.
That is our next challenge, that everyone in DC Universe, DC Daily, has to
Everyone
draw
should
their
do-
own Batman, and then you guys all watching can decide who's better at it.
What you should do
They
is
all get a
cruel
minute and a
things.
half.
Like you bring me in and you're like, Kevin, we're going to let you direct one of the big movies, but you have to draw Batman. And I'm like, I can't draw Batman. They're like, well, you don't get to direct a movie.
This
And it's
is a
that
place to make people feel good,
That's
not
true.
make them feel bad.
Good point, man. We're all feeling good in the DC Universe. I know we've thrown a lot at you guys, so what do you want to know? Let's find out. Will DC Universe rotate comics? How often will it rotate? And will it include current comics? That's what people want to know. In terms of the rotation, yeah, sit and spin, man. DC Universe is going to have 2,500 digital comics at launch that have been curated by the best minds at DC. Can you believe that? It'll have essentials, classic stories, and the top books you want, and it'll be refreshed every few months. Isn't that cool, man?
That's really good.
You're gonna be able to read your comic books right on your television. Like I've been reading my comics on phones for years, but now throw it up on the TV. What a different experience.
So they're also going to have a lot of the archive stuff, you know, because there's a huge
Classics.
vault
Classic
of classics
stuff.
and things like that, and then the newer stuff. That's really awesome.
And hopefully they'll have your comic.
Oh,
up
yeah, I
there.
hope they do. Please.
It's so fun because there's certain shows that have come on where it's like you can watch and then do something on your iPad, like find out more about it. So just thinking about fans that'll be able to watch a show and read a comic if it's saying, you know, we based it off of this. Read the old comics from the archives while you're watching it.
Well, if you could do that in the database, and you could look up and see if you're like, for instance, if you're watching something like on Krypton or Gotham or whatever, if you watch it and you want to know the backstory for the character, it'd be great if you found out what comic book. You could research it, see the comic book, then whip it up and look at it.
Yeah.
See, we've got it all here.
You guys have
The
figured it
universe
all out.
is yours.
Keep watching DC.
You like that
Daily.
idea?
Lee piped in. He likes
You like that
idea.
idea? Well, yeah, I want a percentage of it. You know what I'm saying?
We'll call it the Barrowman feature.
There you go.
There you
The
go.
Barrowman
Me too.
feature.
I started it.
Hey,
Mark.
good girl.
Let's look at
need
another
a Barrowman
question, man. Can you buy comics on DC Universe? The answer, of course, you could buy it more, man. You can buy comics right there. Shortly after September 15th launch, there's going to be tens of thousands more comics available to buy, including new books as they release every Wednesday. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
So not only can you deep dive on the classic stuff, they're going to keep you updated with what's dropping that week, and that's important. Like, we don't get as far as we got, which is like amazing. We're in DC Universe right now, where everything you love about DC is aggregated into one place.
Yeah.
You don't get there without the hard work of people who've been doing comic books for years and years and years. So to be able to make all those stories available right there in DC Universe, so you can like fall down the rabbit hole, that's a dream come true. It's not even a dream come true because, like, we were so primitive, we never dreamed of something like this, like reading comics on TV.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll remember, I say this because with all due respect, you remember the day I used to go down to the drugstore with my friend Ross, and you would buy, it would be a circle, one of those rotating circular
Hey,
things. that
kids,
had the
comics.
Yeah, and the
Spinner
comics
racks.
would be all on that spinner racks. They're actually bringing those back.
I know.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a company
you can buy
that's
'em
trying
now.
to bring them back, and you can put them in. I didn't think.
Wait,
of
did
that.
they
I
spin
could
by
put-
themselves or
no,
you?
No, you had to spin them, but
I made it cooler in my mind. I was like, it's just like rotating, and you're like, this one.
But you can buy a thing that you can buy for a Christmas tree and put the spinner rack in it, and it
Slow
will
spinning stand?
rotate
Yeah.
it itself.
Let me tell you something. I've lived in this best of all possible worlds 48 years, and I've never met anybody else that knew of the spinning Christmas tree holder. My parents had that, and I was made fun of by my wife for the last 20 years, going
It's
like,
in there.
It's in
the
the
book?
Christmas episode. Come on.
somewhere you'll be able to find that on DC Universe.
One of the shows that we do, I am going to create a spinning, and I'm just putting this out there.
Oh, it's happening.
I want to create a spinning rack with my comic books in it. Okay.
Yeah. I
like it.
All right, and I'll get one of the spinning.
Could it be shaped like a Christmas tree
I will
with comics?
shape it any way you want. Yes,
This
but someone better work on that. Props are like, what?
A spinning Christmas tree of comics.
Yeah,
They're like, no, man, this
great.
set is fine. Stop putting things on it, John Barrowman. All right, one more question, man. If you don't pre-order DC Universe, is there a free trial? They're looking for the freebie, man. And yes, I'm obligated to tell you that there will be a free trial for DC Universe if you're on the fence. But as the guy who is in the middle of hosting the DC Daily live stream, why would you wait, man? Like, aren't we doing our jobs good enough here? Haven't you bought this thing yet? Not only do you get 3 extra months free if you pre-order a year, but you also get entered into a Batman sweepstakes. Can you imagine? So what are you waiting around for? Go to DCUniverse.com and pre-order right now, man. You know what? For those, well,
I
you
did
got
it.
some- Did you? While we
Like,
were doing
a
the
while
show?
ago, when Comic-Con happened, it was like, pre-order your DC Universe. I was like, I'm doing this right now.
I was telling this cast before I pre-ordered, and then the good folks at DC Universe were like, here, happy birthday, and they gave me another membership, and I was like, that's 2, so I'm about on 4 devices.
Oh, I know where I'm watching stuff.
Every device I have. You know what? For those folks whose questions we just read, you're going to get 1-year subscriptions to DC.
Hey!
Yeah! Courtesy of DC Daily, they're the ones giving it to you. Of course, if you already pre-ordered, like we all did, and you should have, we're going to send you instead this omnibus edition of the new Teen Titans, man. Look at this. It's heavy. It's heavy. Don't drop it from the top of a building. It'll destroy the world. Speaking of new Teen Titans, George Perez spoke with our own Whitney Moore for a 3-part documentary series that will be yet another exclusive on DC Universe. Y'all know the lovely Whitney Moore from DC All Access. You must know her as well. She filed this special field report right here before going on assignment to Burning Man, which I believe is a neighbor to Batman somewhere. Let's take a look right here.
Ever since they first premiered in The Brave and the Bold, fans have loved the Teen Titans. When DC tasked Marv Wolfman and Len Wein with revitalizing the team for the 1980s, they knew there was only one artist for the job, the legendary George Perez.
So I received a phone call from Marv asking, because of my success over at Marvel, if I'd be interested in doing the Teen Titans, and quite frankly, I wasn't. With the way things were going, I didn't think the book would last 6 issues. But I always dreamed of doing the Justice League of America over at DC. I said, well, if you give me at least 1 issue of Justice League of America, I'll do the Teen Titans for, as long as it lasts, or at least get it going. By the time we reached issue 8, it was a story called A Day in the Lives, and I found out how much emotional investment I've now had with the characters, how much I really enjoyed being with them. That the Justice League was a book that I ended up dropping, and I stayed on with the Teen Titans, and reaction to the book from issue 1 was phenomenal. Marv encouraged me to write, even though I had not done any writing at the time, because he liked me as an idea man as well. And it was a beautiful, beautiful relationship. To this day, I consider Marv Wolfman the gold standard by which I measure any collaborative effort. Who knew? I mean, when he described Raven, when he described Starfire, I thought, okay, I designed them. And unlike a lot of projects, all of them were accepted on their first design. The only exception was one of the editors, Joe Orlando. When he saw the picture of Starfire, said, make her hair a little longer. Didn't know what can of worms he just opened up by asking me to do that. In doing those characters, you have a character who has a lot of science fiction and techno background, so you can do those type of stories with Cyborg. You have an outer space alien, so you can do interstellar stories with Starfire, and you can do more occult mystery type of ghost stories with Raven. So you had 3 characters, all of whom have a particular mood that allows the stories to be a lot more broad than you have regular crime fighting. It couldn't be pigeonholed. Other than they were a superhero team, the types of stories we could do allowed us, a great freedom. At that point, they were the young sidekicks who are going to go on and become heroes on their own right. Obviously, Robin, having been the first kid sidekick in comics, and because of his importance to Batman, they wanted to return Robin to the Batman series. They couldn't do that while he was still a member of the Titans, because you don't want to now make him a sidekick after him being a leader for so long. So we were allowed to then do the thing that we didn't think we would be able to do, is to have Dick Grayson's Robin grow out of being Robin and became Nightwing. That was a very, very big moment where you felt like, yes, it's like I've grown up, I've left my home, and now I am a man. And I think a lot of young readers identified Dick Grayson's character in that regard in the Titans. I sometimes wonder, why did we end up lucky? How did we, find lightning in a bottle there? And you never know. I mean, I think one of the great reasons is that Marv and I, when we did the comic, we just did it because we loved telling stories, we loved creating characters, and we try to put some kind of emotional investment into the characters that the fans managed to feel as well. They can tell that we loved what we were doing, and that was infectious.
George Perez, man. Give it up for George Perez. Absolute legend. George Perez is one of my favorites, man. Besides books like New Teen Titans and Crisis on Infinite Earths, he helped reinvent Wonder Woman post-Crisis. And if you're into Wonder Woman, like Tiffany over there, or like all of us here, DC Universe is like a digital long box full of your favorites, which is great, because I'm sick of lugging mine wherever I go, man. If you go out to my car right now and open the trunk, comics. So now I'll have them on my phone and stuff. Now, check out what else these DC fans are looking forward to on DC Universe. Look at this.
There's tons of DC comic books for fans like you and me to read.
Everything from like the old school to the new school. It's just a nice combination of everything.
They've also got a ton of issues of the original Wolfman Perez Titans run. So if you are excited for the Titans show, you maybe haven't read all of that run, or you're not super familiar with them outside of the cartoon, I highly, highly recommend checking that out.
For somebody that absolutely loves reading comics, somebody that has a whole shelf behind him that is all Batman comics, this is awesome. I'm gonna be able to read so many Batman stories that I can't even get my hands on.
There's a section for brand new readers that shows you a jumping point to where you can actually get into the DC comic books and take off from there.
I really like the way the comics are read. It's very clear and crisp.
It gives you the option to read your comics either full page, page by page, or they'll take you through the panels as they see fit.
That's cool.
And the ability to download and take them with me anywhere.
I really like that.
I love it.
I can't wait for more content from DC Universe.
Coming up, we have our live unboxing, a chance to hear from DC fans around the country, more surprise guests, and exclusive giveaways. And stay till the end for a chance to flex your DC trivia muscles on our live stream.
Love watching Wonder Woman, man. Wow, so many comics we saw right before that, and we're just scratching the surface. I think I need some reinforcements. So let's meet the next member of the DC Daily cast. You know him from Freaks and Geeks and Inglourious Bastards. I know him as Sam. Welcome to the show, Sam Levine, ladies.
Hey! Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi.
It is so awesome to see you here, man. You have been a part of pop culture for a while. It's nice to see you commenting on pop culture as well.
Thank
we share
you.
that in common.
We certainly do. Thank you. I like to say I'm not just a geek in real life. I've also played one on TV.
Nice, nice. So you go deep on DC. What's in your universe, Sam?
In my universe, I mean, it started with Superman the movie when I was real little, and then in '89 when I was 7, of course, Batman, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton.
Is that how old you were when Batman came out?
Yeah, I was 7.
1989, you're 7?
Yeah.
So I was 29. And I was just as ardent, I think, for them. No, was I 19?
don't think the math
19.
works
I was
on that.
19. I did poor math. 19 on that movie,
Yeah.
man. And I couldn't wait. I quit a job. I was working at Domino's, and I just started the job that day. Wow. And so, like, I guess they had a few of us there, and they were like, we got to send some people home. I was like, I'll go, because my friends were going to see Batman like 2 blocks over. We went to the movies at Middletown, and it was just bliss, man.
Oh, yeah.
So you're 7. Did you even remember it?
Oh, vividly.
Do you?
Because I have an older brother, so that's really how I got into this. And my brother's 2 years older, so that when he saw it, he was like, okay, well, I mean, I have some comics, and so then he started building this collection, and because I'm the younger brother, that meant he was spending his allowance money, and I was like, Max won't let me borrow anything. So I got to read all of those comics for free without spending a dime of my 50 cents a week or whatever my folks were giving me in the 80s. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's how I got into it. And so he started me off, weird older brother, he started me off on like Frank Miller Batman.
Not weird, awesome older brother.
That's the best.
And that was a great starting point. Because I was like, I mean, this is before Batman Returns. So I was like, wow, I don't have to wait for like a sequel or anything. There's hundreds of things. And so then I started working back from that and then going forward, like the Nightfall arc. That for me was everything.
Bane.
I got there, Bane, man. And so, yeah, and Azrael and the whole, so that just hooked me for life. And so I've always been a big Batman guy, big Superman guy. So that's the core of my DC universe.
You raised a really good point when you talked about it was your brother was the gateway, and you talked about it was your friend who was the gateway in Chicago. Who was your gateway into DC?
My gateway was that I had a dad who liked sports, and I was a little nerd and didn't like sports. But he mentioned it like he saw, Superman the movie, that he saw superhero stuff. And so in an effort to try to connect with my dad, I got super into comics. And I was like, Dad, look at that. Did you know that he knows him? And he was like, I don't really care. But it's cool. I love my dad. It's great. We go to the movies every week. But that's the thing of trying to, with no older siblings, I was the one to really find it all. But then the good news is I get to share it with my younger sister. So she has that. Absolutely. I was an ambassador from a very young age. I'm like, you got to know about comics. So,
What about you, man?
I mean, it's obviously started seeing my mom and my sister dressing up as the character in the show, but my dad grew up reading comics too, so he was like, we used to play in the playground, and it would be like this person versus this person, and you just yell at each other, saying the different powers they had. So he told me about that growing up, which I was telling him earlier. I was like, when I grew up, we would run around the neighborhood right around the time that Batman came out. And the guy who lived next door to me, I'd always be like, I'm Batman, you're Kim Basinger. So it was always the battle of who got to be Batman, and I won a lot of
That's the exact same conversation I have with my wife all the time. It's like, I'm Batman, you're Kim Basinger. Can I ever be Batman for once? But it's always Kim. Alfred's always letting me into the Batcave.
I like that it's a character and then an actress.
Yeah.
Vicky Vale. No, specifically.
That's
for
what
Kim
it was.
Basinger.
I'm Batman and you're actress Kim Basinger.
Yeah. Do the LA Confidential scenes.
I now just realized that I'm going to cosplay Kim Basinger at San Diego Comic-Con next year.
You're doing
Never
it.
mind Batman, I'm going to be her. And people are like, who are you? I'm like, who do you think? Vicky Vale. Speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, you went to the most recent one.
I did.
What'd you see when you were
Specifically, I got to see the DC pop-up there, which had so many awesome things, but the Court of Owls they had was so freaky.
I heard about it. Tell me about this.
Okay, so I didn't think that could be a thing in real life, but they had a whole room for it. It was go in there and you didn't have a heart condition or anything. I was like, no.
They didn't tell you what you're about to have happen to you.
I even asked. I was like, what's in there? They're like, just go in, you'll be fine. Again, no heart condition, health problems. I was like, no, I'm fine. I walk in, and then from every corner, there was something else. There was the faces, jumping out at me.
So they had people jumping out at you
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
One of those things.
It was
one of
like
those
a
things.
walk through haunted house.
Yeah.
I was doing my Insta stories being like, oh, cool, look at this, Court of Owls. And I was like, ah! And at one point, the guy's literally, with his mask on, I'm against the wall, his face is here, and I was like, this is the scariest thing, but it's also so awesome.
I was with my buddies, and we rounded the corner, and I saw a costume of a Talon from the comic, from the Court of Owls comic. And I'm such a dummy, I didn't think there was a real person in there, so I turned around to try to spook my buddies, and I didn't even notice him, so I spooked them, and they got real scared, and I was like, yeah, it's because the guy came to life behind me. And actually
spook shamed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Shamed.
How awesome,
So
man,
good.
that they go. Back in the day, I don't know what we'd call them, a booth. If you went to Comic-Con, they're like, oh, did you see the DC booth? But now they call that an activation.
Yeah,
It's like, have you gone to the activation?
Activation.
It's very active.
You still get the booth. You go to the booth, the comics are there. We're shooting DC All Access there, signings, but then you get to go to this section outside where it's getting to experience the world of comics in such a different way.
Yeah,
and it's so cool. I mean, the Harley Quinn room that they had there where you could take a bat and just ruin everything in there. They had a Harley Quinn room. There was a room you could walk through that was Swamp Thing.
Yeah. That other guy from the Bayou that was like,
This
watch
is
out
the
for that
world
Swamp
we
Thing.
live in, man.
Yeah.
It was epic.
I feel good for this generation of fan because you can interact with this stuff that you love in any number of ways, including that in the real world. When me and John were kids, you had the books and
Comics,
that was
books,
it.
action figures.
Yes.
You created the interaction. Migos, I have tons of them.
Right.
But you created the interaction of it. Now you can actually physically immerse yourself into it at the cons and not just, San Diego Comic-Con, but some, hopefully there's New York Comic-Con going to be coming up.
Coming up. That's where they're going to drop Titans for the first time. People want to see Titans. Awesome. It's going to be at New York Comic-Con, so we're going to debut it.
Dragon Con this weekend. So there's all different places for even if you're, when you get involved in the DC universe, you can still get immersed in the DC universe outside in all these different places.
So darn true, man. You know who else was at the DC universe experience that Sam was talking about? The man who wrote Batman Court of Owls, and it was behind this year's Dark Knight's medal, the legendary Scott Snyder. Let's check out this video.
Yeah, I knew if I raced you all over town, you'd run out of steam. You look pretty hot. I think I better cool you off. Oh boy, you got some pretty good moves there, Red. But you know what? Even you can't outrun the cold hand of death. Looks like we're gonna have to call this one a draw, huh? Till we meet again.
John Wesley Shipp, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
Before Grant Gustin pulled on the tights, John Wesley Shipp was there for us as the Flash in the 90s, and he's still on Flash. He plays a number of roles on Flash. You never know when a DC Universe experience is going to pop up near you, man. You know what just popped up here on a DC Daily set? Some action figures. Look at that. We got merch. One of my favorite things about DC Universe is wearing it, playing with it, collecting it, man. Like, that's the fun of these characters, is like you get to bring them into your world. And look at this. This is one of the nicest Batgirls I've ever seen in my life. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful statue. We got
so
that.
cool.
We got action figures. We got T-shirts. So this is all going to be available on DC Universe. And I'm such a huge fan of the Batman the Animated Series action figures that they've been putting out in the past couple of years. I've been snagging those up, and I've been waiting. Everybody's been waiting for Justice League, and we finally got them. The Justice League, the 7 plus Aquaman is here, which is so exciting.
Take that, Aquaman.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Rip it. Unbox
I'm
that.
gonna do something with it. Look at this.
Rip it. Look at that's a true fan. You don't shred
Delicately
the box. He's so
opening it.
delicate. I saw you open your box before, John. You were so ginger with your Superman and Batman, and you're sitting here going, "Rip it, rip it."
Tissue paper, how delicately.
I love this Aquaman so much. This is from a fantastic episode of Justice League where we've got a. I got him. Here we go. Here we go.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Such a great. I mean,
Look at that
again,
chest.
we're talking. Oh yeah, this is that great timber.
Barrel chest.
This is Jason
chest.
Momoa before Jason
Yes.
Momoa was Jason Momoa.
Yeah, he's got his little like necklace thing happening.
medallion
that
moves.
Medallion.
We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
before,
absolutely.
like, this is like for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
You know, for us, Aquaman wears an orange shirt. But
Great.
for a lot of kids, that's their Aquaman. Bare-chested, longer hair, underwater. The Justice League cartoon, that's how they depicted him. So the Aquaman that they're getting with Momoa looks more like the Aquaman they know.
Totally. Years before Momoa, when people would not know about Aquaman and kind of laugh at him, I would describe this episode. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Arthur Curry is chained to a block of rock underneath the water, and it's dragging down into lava. And his brother, Orm, chained up his infant son right next to him. You getting chill? You remember this moment?
Yes.
His infant son's crying as we're getting closer to this lava, and this dude is able to break one hand free. He cuts off his own hand. His own hand.
That's what they
It's a
did in
kid
the
show.
animated series?
Yes. He
Yeah.
cut off his own hand, and then this is brilliant because they couldn't do blood because of the kid show. They had the blanket be red. So in the next scene, when Arthur Curry shows up with his baby, the baby is wrapped, like his stump is wrapped in a red blanket. So it looks like it's drenched in blood, but really it's just it was red
That's
before.
actually
It's
better than the
epic.
comics. In the
I
comics,
know,
remember
so
Peter
good.
David was the one
Yes.
that took his hand away, the writer, and he had a bunch of piranha, I believe, like
which
took
is very
his hand
cool.
off. But
you
that
cannot
is
be-
like
it's like it's cutting off your hand to save your infant
child.
son, and then still showing up like, "Where's Orm?" That's like the first thing he said. Oh, I love Aquaman. All right, I can't wait.
What
for
is
this
it
to-
with DC chopping hands off?
Oh,
My hand chopped off.
too close to home for
part of
him.
it. But that's the thing, man. When you like these characters, like you get to collect them. I'm glad that DC Universe put a shop option in there because you can go grab stuff that you like. I'm sure they're going to do exclusives and stuff like that. These Justice Leagues, aren't they exclusive just to DC
Yes,
Universe?
these ones are. The other,
That's
I
pretty
started
awesome.
doing this with my action figures and Funkos, is finding ones that inspire me, putting them on my shelf, because I know a lot of people do vision boards, but I do action figure vision shelves.
Wow.
Where I'm like, Wonder
God,
Woman,
that's
Zatanna. It works. You wake up every morning, you look at them, and you're like, yeah, I'm living my life like her.
There it is. So darn smart, man. I haven't played with action figures since like last week, man. That's a long time for me. As soon as this show is over, I'm pre-ordering. But you guys at home, you can pre-order right now by going to DCUniverse.com. Now let's check this out real quick.
We've got more special guests and surprise giveaways. Plus, everyone who's watching the live stream will get to play in our DC trivia game.
That's a bad outfit. Okay, Breslau, move these people out. Come on, look up there.
What the hell's that?
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me. Who's got you? I can't believe it. I just cannot believe it. He got her.
Man, come on, give it up for the
Awesome.
Dick Donner.
Oh, yeah.
Superman.
Hey, just quick thing. Do you know there was a love theme to that movie? Do you know what it was called?
Hold on.
Can you read my mind?
Yes, that's it. She
The
does
poem.
No,
that's
he
the
was
poem
asking.
that she's reciting when they're flying. But there was somebody like a singing version of it.
It was a hit.
Hit
Yeah,
us. Do
yeah.
it. Come on.
I don't know if I can.
You can.
Can I sing?
Do it.
Can you read my mind?
God, listen
do you
to that
know
voice.
what it is you do to me?
Take me flying, John.
You understand. I don't even know if that's the right word.
They are now. They are now.
Let's check in on old Jim Lee, man, and see how what he's up to at the drawing board. Jim, how's that drawing coming?
I am done. I've There's only so much splatter I can add.
That's awesome.
That is pretty darn phenomenal, man. That's beautiful. All right, let's meet some more DC Daily cast members. These folks have been to many a Comic-Con. Welcome to the team, Clark Wolf and Brian Tong, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
This is so exciting.
Welcome, kids. What's in your DC universe? What's in your universe?
Oh, I'll start. Well, I grew up, we were just talking about the wonderful Dick Donner Superman movies, of course, and Tim Burton's Batman was a huge part of my small childhood. I was probably too young to be watching, like 4 years old, but for some reason it really resonated to the point where my dad went to the video store and bought the cutout of the Joker that they sent for me so I could have it in my playroom, which was very
Awesome. What a supportive
cool
dad.
dad,
He's like, I'm
right?
going to get this murderous psychotic clown right in my 4-year-old
She's
room.
into it. And from that to, I'm so excited for James Wan's Aquaman. I'm a huge horror fan. James Wan is my man.
Yeah.
I am such a fan, and he's so ready, and I'm so ready.
And he's multi-talented. Like, we know him as a horror guy, but he's also, like, Aquaman is not a horror.
Oh,
That
no.
trailer
No.
is like, he's so multi-talented.
I
Fast
think
and
he's the
Furious.
next Spielberg.
You know what? I absolutely agree with you, Ron.
Thank you.
What about you, Brian?
Well, it's funny when she says you were, what, 4 years old when you saw Batman?
Yes.
See, I was 10. We've been talking about age thing. Asian don't raisin. So if you do the timeline right now, right?
You definitely look younger than me. There's
No,
a
I'm not
side
saying
by
that.
side.
I didn't go there. I didn't go there. But, you know,
I said it.
But obviously, Batman was so impressionable. The animated series, you know, so many of us were impacted by that. For me, I'm a big comic book guy. I love this stuff, and you know, following along through the years, I'm really juiced up about Aquaman as well. Not just because the movie's here, but Jeff Johns totally brought Aquaman back in New 52. Addressed all those jokes that people made, threw it out there and said, no, Aquaman is a badass, and I'm gonna show you why. Dan Abnett took it from there. So I'm really excited about the movie as well, and just the visuals, what DCU is doing with the movies, and Shazam. I mean, there's a lot of momentum there, and all those people that were saying things before, I think they're gonna start coming back.
I agree. I think both of those movies, based on the trailers alone, it seemed like incredibly strong steps in the absolute right direction. Not only does Aquaman look like what a movie should look like, of that level. It's all different kinds of movies, but sometimes you just want to escape. You want to see something that does not exist, and that's what we've seen in that trailer. And Shazam puts the fun back, and more importantly, kids back into comic books.
Yes.
Like, look, we're all older folks and we love these comic book characters and they tie into our childhood, but it's important that you pass it on to another generation of kids. So watching them kind of take a Shazam approach where they're like, it's kind of like Big in the DC universe, and it's going to appeal to like multi-generations, not just those of us who are like, oh, finally a Shazam movie. That's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about real quick the earliest memories of the DC characters. What do you guys got?
Well, in addition to my cardboard cutout of the murderous clown,
Right.
my dad was supportive and others. So my dad introduced me to the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I am not named Clark for Clark Kent, but I do think that he
We were all wondering.
Yeah, I do think that he secretly was into it. But listen, you know, it was really important. My dad is an attorney, and he really does believe in truth, justice, and the American way, and that was a huge part of my growing up. And that has even segued into I feel like I connect so much to Supergirl now because I love watching Kara's evolution, and the cast on that show is just so good.
Isn't that show phenomenal?
It's such a great show. And you know, Tiffany was talking about vision boards earlier. I have the old school vision board. I don't have like cool action figure vision board.
You're not making that. We don't all have that Tiffany Smith money,
I mean,
man.
come on, yeah, exactly.
Some of us got to use cardboard.
75 of them. But I will say that I have up on my vision board from season 1 of Supergirl when Supergirl fights Red Tornado, and the image of her with the rage and the anger and the hurt, because it's the first time that I remember seeing a character that felt like me allowed to experience those emotions, and that to me was when that show turned. I mean, I loved it from the beginning, but it really became something super important. And then my screensaver backdrop says it's not a man, it's her walking away from the truck. And it's like, so I see it every day.
That show is so good. When I went down the rabbit hole and caught up with all of season 1, it made me sad that I had not grown up a girl with an older sister, because the relationship between Kara and her sister on the show is so beautiful. I was like, why wasn't I born a woman? That would have been helpful. That show is
the first time that's ever been said.
I can talk to you about that.
What about you, Brian? What's your childhood with DC like?
I mean, my brother and I on VHS, there was actually tapes, right? We put into VHS players. We watched the Adam West Batmans. I mean, that was, to us, you know, an experience with your, you know, my dad who wasn't into it. My dad kind of was really cool because he followed the passions that me and my brother had. So, for example, we watched the Adam West Batman. We got into collecting comic books. We would go to the comic book store every week, and my dad came with us because he just wanted to learn about it. He got sucked into it. So kind of all these stories of family of how, oh, my brother did this. My dad got, it was actually me and my brother bringing my dad into it. So, I mean, and he has collections of all his favorite stuff, but that was a really cool way to tie it all together. But Adam West Batmans, I mean, we watched that all day long as kids.
It's funny, man. When we were kids, when I was a kid, that was like what I did before I went to school. And when I came home from school, you would watch. They'd have an hour block of 2 half-hour episodes, and that was my Batman. And we talked about at one point, like we treated that serious as a heart attack. Like it wasn't campy to us.
No.
It was real. And then you grew up. And around 1989, when Tim Burton's Batman was coming out, and we'd had The Dark Knight Returns and whatnot, you sold out on your love of Adam West. You know, and people are like, that's the old silly Batman. Like, I like new Batman, man. That's not the Dark Knight himself and stuff. And then you wind up, if you live long enough, you're lucky enough to come back full circle and go back. Like, I remember the day that I was like, I said to Matt Wagner, famous comic book artist and writer, I was just like, oh man, Batman, like, because he had a line in one of his comics where Batman called Robin a chum. And I was like, that's from the TV show. And I go, you shouldn't be referencing that. He goes, you kidding me? That was my first Batman. The whole reason I do what I do is because of the Adam West Batman. Don't sell on it just for the cool kids. Don't sell out on it.
You can go backwards and you dip back in, and you don't really tell everybody, but you do it secretively. Adam West, I was looking at a house in Palm Springs, and I went to the open house, and I'm in the open house, and I heard this voice.
Oh.
And I was like, I totally know that voice. And I turned around, and it was Adam West. It was a while before he passed away, and he was in the house, looking at the house, and we decided it wasn't right for us, but he bought it, and I knew where he lived, and I was always always tempted just to like go and show up. And the other day, in fact, I was with my sister who was visiting me at the moment because we're writing something at the moment. I was in the car and we're driving past, and I said, Carol, that's the house that I met Adam West in, and that he bought and da-da-da. And she said, would you think we can go see it? I said, but he's not with us anymore. She said, I don't care. Adam West lived in it. Let's just go sneak in. I'm like, no.
It's just nice to know that somewhere in DC Universe, Malcolm Merlin is fighting Batman for a house.
I love that.
Yeah, there's a reality
show.
That's what I want to see on DC Universe. A show about that. It's all about the fans, and DC Universe really knows how to bring them together, man. Its Connect section lets fans unite and discuss their favorite heroes. And here's Rob Camphausen to show you how you can connect to other fans on DC Universe, and then we'll hear what some DC fans think about it. Check it out.
Right now, we're going to take a look at our Connect section called Community on the iPad. This is one of my favorite sections in the entire app because this is where fans get to voice their opinion and engage with other fans. So this board section up here, this is a bunch of different categories that you can jump into, whether you want to talk about comics or other media. A lot of our beta feedback is going to live here as well. And you'll see there's trending discussions here. These are popular things that are showcased so that it's a quick jump-in point. So if you have an opinion about who's the faster Flash or would Batman actually beat Superman, this is the place that you can bring that.
What I think is really dope is its Connect features. You get to see what other fans are talking about. That's something totally different, and you really show that the fans are important, which has always been an important aspect of DC Comics, and it's right there.
I love that because it's a great way to be able to connect with other DC fans and make new friends.
You can start threads, you can have conversations, and overall, it's everything that's DC.
Please geek out with me about Starfire. I might start a Starfire thread.
There is so much to look at. You can connect with different people, you can watch different shows and movies.
You can also check the community tab to see what other fellow DC fans are saying about this movie. They love it, they hate it, whatever they want to do, they can voice their opinion in that community tab.
I enjoyed the reading aspect of the comics and also being able to leave a comment about the comics. It gives you the opportunity to share your immense fandom of the DC Comics world with others who are just as hyped about the DCU as you are.
All right, man, we're back. Put it together. Still going. This telethon is still in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. We got a number to hit on the tote board. Help us get there. We've went so long that we're going to lose a member of our party, man. Jim Lee's like, I got a business to run. And so we'll check in with Jim Lee one last time. Jim, how's that drawing that you finished an hour ago?
Still done.
Hey! We can't thank you enough for coming and hanging out, man. Yeah. Thank you. We know you got to get back to work. Everyone give it up to Jim Lee. Legend. Make sure you sign that. Make sure you sign it, Jim.
It's signed, of course.
Did you sign it already?
Of course
you did.
Come on.
Trademark.
All right. Thank you so
much.
All
right. You might recognize our next DC Daily cast members as familiar faces from Versus on DC All Access. Here's John Karunas and DC Comics scribe Sam Humphries. Ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, boys.
Thank you very much.
First question we're asking everybody, what's in your universe? We'll start here.
Boy, you know, they talk about how like your favorite comics or movies or music represent you at like your emotional maturity. So I'm gonna say Lobo.
Yes! Excellent pull, man. We've not had Lobo Love on the show yet.
I know, you got
And I think the main man's day is coming.
The main day has got to come
Special effects have caught up to the point where, like, come on.
I know,
Lobo
right?
is imminent, I would imagine.
Exactly. You get the chains, the vest,
Yes.
the attitude, the main man.
Can't wait, man. The 90s are back. What about you?
I feel like with so many people, my DC universe is huge. I would say it's very Batman-centric. Of
course.
But there's always kind of room to expand and get in touch with characters that you're not as familiar with. I mean, there's a lot of comics that I read where you end up doing such deep dives where you're like, wait, I know this face, but you have to go back and it's ever expanding. You're getting more familiar with people that you might be out of touch with. But it really, the doors were blown open for me for when I was a kid through Batman. My parents got me The Greatest Batman Stories Ever Told, Volume 2.
I remember that book.
We started on Volume 2.
Right. Great book.
And yeah, that's really what kind of, like I said, totally.
Yeah.
It opened the door not only to comics, but the world of Batman and that 1989 Batman Tim Burton movie.
You're a big fan of Michael Keaton Batman.
That movie, the dialogue is still like a language in my family.
Yeah, so you use that. And sometimes you love a movie so much you stop talking like a real human and you just talk in movie dialogue. Think about the future, stuff like that.
Gonna need a moment alone, boys.
Yes, oh my lord. So what's it like to be this close to the Michael Keaton? That is the original Michael Keaton bat suit.
100%.
It is. Did you go look at his feet? It's
yeah.
It's literally Nikes.
He's literally got Nikes on his feet.
Velcro.
With Velcro tabs.
It's the coolest thing. I think that's really what is so exciting about this and DC Universe and being part of it, is that we're all fans at heart. Granted, some of us do the real thing too. But at our heart of hearts, we're all just super fans.
John, I'm gonna say, go ahead, put the suit on right now.
Yes,
Let's do it, man.
yes,
Do it,
that's
man.
why we brought you out here,
It's
man.
knocking if he's too big.
Welcome to DC Intervention. Put on the costume, man.
What a great day.
Sam, you are writing Harley Quinn.
Yeah, man.
One of the only people in the world who's ever written Harley Quinn.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that like? Is it an intimidating job? Because you've written comics prior to Harley Quinn, but that's
Sure,
like,
yeah.
it demands of you to be funny as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's such a special character because, I mean, you might be familiar with Harley Quinn, I don't know.
I only just
But-
read about her earlier today. Character seems
exactly.
interesting.
Skim the script, yeah, exactly. But she kind of acts as the Bugs Bunny of the DC universe.
Yes.
She can go anywhere. She can talk to any criminal. She can talk to any good guy. She can team up with anyone. And she always is her own crazy self. And because she is true to herself, we can see the DC universe in a new light through her eyes.
What has been? Let me see. You're working on the book right about now. If I'm correct, we should be coming up on 50 issues. Or
Exactly. I just proofed issue 50 up in the green room today.
Did you? While we were all working here, you were working on the book.
I was ignoring all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. I'm doing work, man.
Now, wait, when does 50 happen? For those who
Issue
listen
50,
at home.
September 19th.
So how far out did you write it?
Boy, because it's extra size and because it's an art jam issue,
Yeah.
which means we got multiple artists doing pages in the book. We got
So it's
some
not just
fantastic-
Amanda, it's everybody.
Exactly. We got John Timms doing the main section of the book. We got Will Portacio doing.
Whoa!
Yeah. We got Dan Jurgens.
Oh my lord.
Both those. I mean, those are the only two that we've announced so far, but there are multiple artists in here that are bucket list artists for me.
That's
Huge
really
bucket list artists for me. So we wrote it early to make sure we could get the artists that we wanted to get. And the concept of the whole book is Harley Quinn destroys DC continuity. It's
Nice.
done.
That's usually DC's
Done.
job. So
Exactly.
it's nice to see they give it away to Harley.
Yeah, Harley is taking it in her own hands. She's like, if you want a job done right, you know, you got to do it yourself. But
That or mallet?
I go with the mallet. I go with the mallet because it's old school. It's comics. I mean, the bat looks great.
That
but,
was very cool for the movie and stuff, but the
Absolutely.
mallet just screams
Anyone
like
can
something unreal.
Anyone can work a bat, but to really swing a hammer, you got to have something special.
That's true, man. Well put. Just put like a writer.
See?
Okay, I've gotten word that a lot of people are asking about connecting, man. So I'm going to show you just how easy it is to connect with one another and answer a couple questions. So come on, social media. Let's see what you got, man. Hit me up with some questions. First question. What makes DC stand apart from other labels? For me, let me see. What makes DC stand apart? And when you say other labels, you mean other marvelous labels? I think DC's always stood apart for me because their heroes are very real. They're not necessarily born in scientific mishap or something like that. Mostly they're born of tragedy. You're talking about Batman who loses his parents and makes a vow like this will never happen to anyone else. Boom, his journey begins. Superman lost his parents, but then we see the beautiful story of what happens when two other people bring a kid into the life, make him their son and stuff. So we've seen these characters grow usually from tragedy, but that's where character comes into play, man. Like the superhero in the equation, super is easy to pull off on the page, right? Just draw them big, you have them flying in the air, show them beating up a bad guy or something. Super's very easy to take care of. Hero is the human part.
Yep.
And the DC heroes are so human. Like, that's what I've always loved about them. That's why DC really speaks to me. I can identify with these characters. Look, I'll never be a billionaire like Batman and stuff, and hopefully, like my parents, well, my dad died of natural causes, and hopefully one day, a long time from now, my mom goes the same way from natural causes. Doesn't mean you can't identify with a guy whose life was born in tragedy or something like that. We all look up to Batman because the story of Batman in the DC universe is he doesn't have any superpowers. He doesn't come from another planet. He wasn't made from clay, the child of a Greek god or something. He's just a person. But with enough dedication, he could turn himself into something more. Dedication not just to himself, but to his fellow people, man. So that's why I like DC Comics.
I gotta tell you, I think you're like a Powerball win away from being Batman yourself.
You think so?
The only thing stopping you is
You're
to
right.
be
No way, man. No
He's got
way.
the blazer already.
I still feel very Oswald Cobblepot. I'm always going to be Penguin inside. Question 2. What is the one DC hero who has had the most impact on my life? My life? Hands down, Batman. I don't know if I talked about it before. I talked about it earlier in the day, but I used The Dark Knight Returns, the trade paperback. as a Bible of sorts. I was a Catholic kid growing up and stuff, and so I enjoyed their book. And then when I got older, I started reading The Dark Knight Returns. And on page 1 of that book is one of my favorite 2 panels in the history of comics or in the history of anything created. Bruce Wayne, as an older man with a big old mustache, is driving a race car on Ferris racetrack, and he's about to wipe out and die probably in a fiery wreck. And he says, the line that Frank Miller gives him is, "This would be a good death." Like, he's just ready. After his whole life, he's like, this is it. And then at the next panel, he yanks the wheel to save his own life. And he says, but not good enough. And the adventure begins. And if he doesn't make that decision, that book ends on page 1. You're like, meet Bruce Wayne. Bam, he crashes. The book's over and stuff. So he makes the right choice as far as the story goes. And I've always used that in my life, even when it is going to sound maudlin, but it's absolutely true. I had a heart attack 6 months ago. I was laying there on the table. I was totally cool with dying, and I literally said in my head, this would be a good death. And then I said, but not good enough. Well, I didn't. The doctor did. He saved my life. But, so, it's DC Comics, very, very close to my heart, Batman particularly.
And that doctor was Frank Miller.
Bang!
Hey!
That doctor was Thomas Wayne. Tragically, he was killed later on that. See, it's just that easy, man. And for taking the time to reach out to us, those fine folks just got themselves, guess what it is? A 1-year subscription courtesy of DC Daily. Yes. And if you're already pre-ordered, like I told you to before, then we're going to send you this sweet new Teen Titans omnibus instead, man. Look at this.
Book, man.
Show him how heavy that book is. And he's, and he's got muscles. Look at this guy. All right, stick around, man. I'm still going to be doing some DC trivia with all you fans watching, and we got lots more to give away. But for right now, check this out.
Next, a very special guest plus exclusive prize giveaways. Don't go anywhere.
You don't really think you'll win, do you? Things change.
Meow.
A human being again. Hi, babies! Mommy's home! Are you the sweetest babies? Yes, you are! Yes, you are! How do you like a hacienda?
Charming. Especially these monitors. Between the cops, City Hall, and the mayor's office, Joker has the whole city wired.
He's a genius.
What's the attraction, Gwen? This sick infatuation with the Joker.
Look, Bats. When I was a doctor, I was always listening to other people's problems. Then I met Mr. J, who listened to me for a change and made everything fun.
You think it's funny when he hurts people?
It's just a joke.
Hope you're still laughing when it's your turn.
Oh, we're back.
Close enough.
There it is. You saw backstage, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 14th hour of DC Universe. Yes, we're going to beat you guys. The audience will break before we will. We're going to be here.
Superman onesie to change it.
That's right. I brought pajamas as well. Well, everyone heard Sam talk about Harley Quinn, the comic book before. Now it's time to meet another Harley Quinn. Everyone, give it up for this next guest. I'm actually very thrilled and proud to announce this because this was an idea that hatched many years ago. I said if we name the kid something after a DC comic, maybe they'll give her a job one day.
You'll get a gig.
And so I'm very happy to announce my very own daughter is a part of this show. She's going to be on DC Daily. Welcome the second Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's Oh my God, you don't know how fun this is for me. This is awesome on so many levels. It's not even like take your daughter to work day. You actually have a job. Like, I'm really visiting at you.
I'm
at
taking
your
you
job.
to work.
Yes, you are. And the other delightful thing for this about me is like, this is less money I have to give you. You have your own money now. Yes. I like that very much. You brought out the bat, man.
He did.
Oh,
Yeah, pun intended.
Yes.
When I was working on something for DC before, they were nice enough to hand me this bat. Tell them about the bat story when I gave you the bat.
This is my bat. Right before we went to Sundance with Yoga Hosers, you gave this to me and said it was my gift for starting my career and going out in the world, and I could bash any haters down with it. Bash my way through the working world, and I obviously sobbed very hard for a long amount of time. And I love it so much, and I have it hung up on my wall usually, so I'm very protective of it right now. But
It is. It's usually in a glass case.
It is in a glass case.
That's the actual from the movie, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
love
the good folks at Warner Brothers were like, here's a bat. And I was like, oh, I know who this is.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
This is, it's such a cool thing for me because, as we were talking about before, in some cases, comics are very generational. DC Comics particularly is something that you pass on to from a brother or a friend or parents. And in this case, I passed on a love of DC. You couldn't avoid it. It's in your name.
It would have been awkward if I didn't.
To say the least. What has it been like growing up as Harley Quinn? For my money, like I remember when we named you, you're born in like '99. So when we first started telling people,
She was born in like, I guess.
I do remember. It's like it's around '99.
Ballpark.
But we would tell people like, oh, what's her name? We're like Harley Quinn. They're like, oh, you must ride. You love the Harleys. And I'm like, no, Harley Quinn's actually the Joker's girlfriend. They're like, what?
That was most of my life.
Yeah.
Until Suicide Squad came out, and then after that, everybody thought I was lying about my name, and then I made it up.
Right.
So before it was all about motorcycles, and now everyone thinks I'm a liar. So
Yes, people are like, you poser, but like you've
For
been
real.
Harley Quinn since the beginning. And your mom, I got to give it up to Jennifer, my wife, for keeping that name. Because I remember she read how it happened, how she got the name. She was reading Mad Love. A copy of Mad Love. It had just come out that week. And Harley Quinn, the character, was introduced in the animated series. And then Bruce Timm and Paul Dini did a one-shot called Mad Love. So it told the Harley story and brought her into comics for the first time. So Jennifer, I just started dating her at that point, and she saw all the comic book stuff around my apartment. I had DC. Like I spent all the money I ever earned at the Warner Brothers store back in the day, so I had cells all over the wall and stuff. So she was like, give me something to read, something that like what you think is really good. And I was like, there's this book that just came out this week that you don't have to read anything else to understand. I think you'll enjoy it. So I gave her that. She read it. She read it in the tub. I have a photo of her reading in the tub, which is a little creepy. And then she got out of the tub. Sorry to share that part with you. But I forgot you were here. But and when she got out of the tub, I was like, what'd you think? She was like, I love that. She's going, Harley Quinn would be a great name to give a kid one day. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then like a year later, we were having a kid. And when you were born and I actually saw your face, I was like, we can't call this kid Harley Quinn, man. Like, that's horrible to lay on a kid to carry for the rest of her life, man. Like, because if she's like portly, they'll call her Portly Quinn and stuff like that. Like, there's all sorts of names they can make fun of Harley Quinn or whatever. That was! I was afraid they would take your name and turn
like
it into
naming
things.
me after a psychotic villain.
No, no. That seemed right to me, you know?
She has a good heart.
Yeah, it's also
She has a great heart.
She absolutely does.
Good.
But
She's a
Jennifer
great
fought
writer,
for that
too.
name. Jennifer fought for it hard. She was like, no, we got to call it Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's a good name and stuff. And then I said, if we have another kid, can we call him Batman Jr.? And she said, no. So we only got as far as Harley Quinn. All right, it's awesome working with you in this capacity.
Same to you.
It just makes me happy. I'm like, she's a DC kid.
It was so cute because we came in here and I was like, oh, I'm so excited that Harley's here. And I'd sent her a message when I found out. I was like, congrats. And when I was talking to Kevin, I was like, how cool is it having her here? And he's like, well, she started the job before me. And I was like, is it okay if I do this show? And I was like, that is like, it's so.
She
it's
did.
So
She got hired
sweet.
before I did.
Jealous.
It's true. It's
Say the least.
gross. When she got the job, she told me, she's like, I'm going to be doing this DC Daily Show. I was like, what is it? And she's like, they're doing it on DC Universe, and they're going to cover the news every day. They're doing stuff. And I was like, and they hired you? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I could do that. You know, and then she met with the folks and she was just like, you know, she was joking around. She's like, my dad really wanted this job. He was talking about how he'd rather do this. And they told her, they were like, we love your dad, but we're looking for a younger generation. And here is that younger generation fan.
But you brought it into the universe where you were like, I'm going to name her Harley. Maybe one day DC will hire her, and here we are.
It totally works out. And I'm more than happy to pass the torch, or the bat, if you will, to somebody who's named after the universe, man. That's very appropriate.
That's DC legacy right
That
there,
is
right?
DC
Yeah.
legacy, man.
You can share the bat.
That's true. All right, it's been great hanging out with this bunch of animals, but now it's time to put everyone to work, man. We're going to pull trivia questions from the Explore section of DC Universe. Before we get into the Q's and A's, though, here's how Explore works. Titans comes out, and maybe you want to read up on Hawk and Dove, say. Find out their first appearance, read some comics. The encyclopedia's got you covered, man. It's the definitive guide from DC, but fans are also encouraged to contribute as well. So not only is it there, but you can also add to it, like some other websites we've heard about. So we're gonna ask everyone watching some questions, and depending on what platform, we want you to type the answer into chat. First one to answer correctly gets a shout out right here on the show, and maybe a little more, man. Yes, so here we go.
Shout out.
A shout out.
Wow.
Or as they say in
Maybe
Canada, a
more.
shoot out. We're going to begin with you, since you're the last one to be introduced here on DC Daily. Take us there. Show us what we're going to be seeing for the next year.
Here I go. Don't put pressure.
Oh, I'm watching.
Okay, this one is for Twitch. What is Carrie Kelly's weapon of choice in The Dark Knight Returns?
Oh, I know that, and I want to answer that question.
Don't give any spoilers.
I know that because I
know.
can see the answer over her shoulder.
I'm gonna slow it down.
That's
Let's slow
good.
my roll. We've got to wait for the rest of social media to kind of catch up. Give them a few seconds to
I think
figure out
the
their
answer is a friendly smile.
Yeah, that
There's no better way to disarm a villain or a hostile situation than with a beautiful smile.
That's true, and a kind word.
I like it.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you look hostile today.
This is gonna be a great comic.
All right, while we're waiting, man, let's ask other folks, man. Besides a kind word and a nice smile, how does one stop a supervillain? John, what do you got?
It's great. It's like match game.
It really is. We're in the back row, Barry.
I have to take my thing about like Malcolm Merlin. We were just saying, smile, kill him with kind. Malcolm Merlin, you always know you're gonna die when he smiles at you. When he, you know, if he's mean, he doesn't do anything. He smiles. A character choice, straightforward. Nothing's gonna happen. But if he looks at you and goes, "You're gone.
That's it.
You're done.
That's the look.
You're
That's
done."
terrifying.
Fair
So I'm gonna die? You just did
No, you're not going anywhere. We need you. We need you.
You're OG, man. You're gonna be here forever. All right. So, do we know an answer? Am I supposed to give an answer?
I think
I had waiting on an answer.
She's got the answer.
You've got the answer?
Who has given us? Did someone actually write in the right answer?
Wait.
Yeah,
there's
we've got
so
the
many
answer.
fans
Do you
out
have the
there
winner?
I don't. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. We're waiting still.
waiting.
That's it.
Some
The
more
internet is a
ways
ways
to
to
just-
place.
Come
but
on,
it's also-
Twitch.
A nice
You got
cup of
this.
tea.
Yes,
That's
we
what you
could.
give them?
A nice cup of tea.
A nice cup of tea would also
kiss
stop
them.
him, Sam.
Oh,
kiss?
that might.
Kiss.
That would take him by surprise.
Yeah.
Super
Yes.
sharp wit.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we talking about foreplay or stopping a villain?
Yeah, sounds like a great
We
first
don't
date.
need
we
to
have
answer
it?
that question because we've
Oh,
got
okay.
someone. Who
All right,
answered
here we go, man.
correctly.
The answer is coming to us from Spectre 186. Harley, give it to him.
It is Slingshot.
It's a slingshot!
Nailed
Gary
it.
Kelly used a slingshot. Of
Nailed
course she did, man. All right, what do we got? Clark, you going next?
I am next. All right, this one is for DC's Facebook. The question is, what mythological creature was Lori Lamaris?
Ooh, all right, come on, think about it.
Mythological creature.
And try thinking, kids. Don't just go to the internet and like
Don't just
enter.
Google.
Yeah. Use your brain, Sam. What are you guys doing back there?
We're just having a little secret conversation, and we're doing this at the same time.
Oh, boy. Nothing
Don
good
and
ever
Sam have
happened.
broken off and they're doing their own show.
It makes me a little nervous having them right
Yeah,
behind
they're
me.
plotting right
I am like, I don't know what's about to
You don't need to
happen.
worry.
So put right on Front Street. You don't need to worry.
He's not gonna kill me, and he's not into me. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
All right, we got an answer, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
The answer is coming.
Larry Larry Gilmore.
Larry Gilmore.
Larry
Give it to
Gilmore.
him, Mark.
Very
What's the
cool.
answer?
Congratulations, Larry, who answered a mermaid.
That's right, Lori
Hey.
Lamar, mermaid. All right, now it's my turn, man. This one is for YouTube. What year-long League of Assassins ritual did Damian Wayne complete? I'll let you think about that. Do not look at the internet. Don't ask any friends. Think. Pull the answer up, man.
Yeah.
You know
Tough
it.
Mudder?
If you're watching DC Universe,
Tough Mudder?
you know this answer. You got one?
Well, no, but I was the leader of the League of Assassins for a little
might have
while.
some-
So,
So let's hand it over to
No,
John.
I'm not saying anything. You
No,
kidding?
no, my God, you're bona fides. You're absolutely right. What was
but
it like
doesn't
playing?
mean I know.
What was it like pretending to be the League of
Oh
Assassins?
no!
Go
I
ahead.
mean, it was the kind of the biggest ego boost ever to know that you were in control. I'm talking as the character.
Yes.
In control of all of those people, and also the fact that you could just walk out of the shadows and be somewhere. I mean, I remember we were filming an episode in The Flash, and Grant, who plays the Flash, one of the lines that the character Flash says to me, I walked out of the shadows, and he goes, "Where do you come from?" You know, and but that's the kind of thing. And being in Nanda Parbat, and I remember when Katie Cassidy first read the script, and she said it in the dialogue we were filming, and she said, "When are we all heading to Amanda Parbat?" And we, what? It's Nanda Parbat. No, we all called it Amanda Parbat.
I went to high school with Amanda. I remember her.
Well, she's you know, good girl.
That's amazing.
We got an answer, man.
Oh.
It's not a great answer, but it's an Amanda Poorbutt answer for you. The person who came up with the answer is the Nerd Spot. And the answer for that question, of course, is going to be the Year of Blood, ladies and gentlemen. The Year of Blood. That is the ritual and
Sounds
stuff. And then, okay, so that's that. We got 3 questions. We did 3 questions, and everyone got them right.
That was
Give
good.
it up for
Awesome.
everybody. Okay, man, those were good ones, but remember, deep dive facts like these are the kind of stuff that you'll find on DC Universe Encyclopedia. Stay tuned, we got more coming up. Here, watch this.
Show. You know what I missed most about running with you? The toys. Stay sharp. We're not done. You want to dance? Let's dance. Is that gonna hold? No. So you want me to... Should I? Okay, I'll just take care of this.
All right, man, yes, give it up for Batman the Animated Series. What's up, Batman? Under the Red Hood. We've been through so much of what's on DC Universe, but there's one thing that we haven't fully covered yet, and that's the giveaways, man. Get some stuff. First, don't forget to enter the Ultimate Batman Sweepstakes. Anyone who pre-orders DC Universe can enter the sweepstakes for a chance to receive a trip to right here in Los Angeles, and you get to take a spin in the Batmobile. How awesome would that be? Not the Bat Missile, the Batmobile. Well, that's for later. That's another trip. All pre-orders and entries must be submitted by September 12th. And speaking of giveaways, now let's check out a DC fan who got a sweet haul at San Diego Comic-Con. Look at this.
My name's Alfredo Ramos, and I won a trip to LA to see the premiere of Aquaman from the DC Universe sweepstakes. I saw from Comic-Con that DC announced, hey, pre-register for DC Universe, get a chance to go to LA and see Aquaman, and I was gonna pre-register anyway, figured why not, enter the contest, and here I am, winning the contest. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to see a movie premiere of one of the greatest heroes of DC Universe.
All right, but wait, we have another surprise, man. To the fan who submitted our favorite question of the night, you're getting a year's subscription to DC Universe, plus this gift package full of collectibles, courtesy of DC. Awesome. Isn't that nice? Look at all these fabulous prizes. And hey, if you already pre-ordered, you're getting an omnibus edition of the new Teen Titans instead. How about that? That book is so heavy, it can destroy a nation, man. It's that big. And we are throwing in the original Jim Lee piece that he drew and signed right here. Look at that. Damn, I wanted that, man.
Not the 1 minute drawing.
No, that's the one that he took at least 2 minutes on. And the lucky fan who's winning all that is... Give it up for @Queen Ollie, man. Thanks for that and for your question about what makes DC stand out that I got to answer before. That was really cool, man. There are plenty of opportunities to receive some great prizes through weekly sweepstakes with DC Universe. Not only can you get discounts and access to special events, but we've got screenings, digital extras, and collectibles like this amazing bust of the Joker sculpted by the legendary Rick Baker. Look at that, man. Wow. Oh my God, I want to live in it.
So creepy.
What are you waiting for, man? Go pre-order right now at DCUniverse.com. I don't know how else to tell you, man. Meantime, let's take a look at this.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Superman, Batman and Robin, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the Wonder Twins, Zan and Jaina, with their space monkey, Bleak. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
That is about all we have for you. I want to thank Lorne Michaels and our musical 21 Pilots. Thanks for coming out. Well, that about does it, man. Just 18 days left to the launch of DC Universe. Just 18 days. That's September 15th, a.k.a. Batman Day. And be sure to join us on that day for a special episode of DC Daily with all these cats, as well as every weekday for all of your DC news, man. You can also catch clips on DC's YouTube and the DC Universe Facebook page. Let the countdown begin, and be sure to sign up for the DC Universe at DCUniverse.com. That's all we got for you today, man. We'll see you on DC Universe. Bye!